Fogarty!
The Fogarty fans were out in force and the weather was to his liking. He'll line up with the usual suspects. Fogarty got a flyer there. Whoa! Oh, Foggy's back! Foggy's back through! Well, that was a bit of a precocious move, wasn't it? Oh, Hodgson! No, it's Keeley. That's Keeley down. Keeley is down. Here comes Slidey up the inside of Carl Fogarty. Fogarty is going to get his first glimpse of his old bike there. He does. But Aaron Slipe, what a ride from him. Fogarty up the inside of Hodgson. He goes through. Oh, brilliant ride from Graybar. Oh, dear me, that was so close. That could have took Carl down. Carl Fogarty's up and running now. The crowd are willing him on. It's going to be Carl Fogarty, a big win. He takes his first World Championship Superbike win of the year. Yes, I'm number one, and I did it at home at Donington Park. Carl Fogarty's still waiting to restart. Race 1 here at Brands Hatch. We'll be across that as soon as it comes up live in just a short while. But first, let's go back a week or so to a fantastic race in Japan. It's the main one as far as the manufacturers are concerned all year long. It's the Suzuka 8 Hour. What a great atmosphere, but there's a better one here at Brands Hatch in England at this moment in time. 80,000 people are through the gate now, and still they are streaming in, believe it or not, and we are, what, 25 to 1 in the afternoon. Race 1 has been stopped due to an accident. We'll bring you a report on that as soon as we have it. And right now, we're going to take a short break. One thing's for certain, out of those 80,000 people are a lot of kids, and they know who they want to be.
I'm Cole Fogarty. 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 I'm Cole Fogarty.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch. Race 1 will restart in 20 minutes at 1 o'clock. It is confirmed that 1 o'clock is the restart, and it will include Neil Mackenzie on the front row of the grid. Cole Fogarty was leading when the race was stopped due to an accident. We'll give you a report on that as soon as we can. But now that gives us a chance, of course, to take a look at Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch through the eyes of Andy Kershaw.
You wouldn't think so to look at it now, but in a previous life, this place was used for the cultivation of mushrooms. This is Brands Hatch, and it's been in continuous use for racing since the 1930s, when it was a bicycle track.
The layout of the circuit hasn't changed much over the years, though the addition of tarmac to the original grass track has proved a worthwhile investment. In fact, the 2.6-mile Grand Prix circuit has just been resurfaced, which should help to up the current lap record this weekend of 1 minute 28.02 seconds, set last year by Mr. Personality John, happy to be on a Honda Kaczynski. Brands first began to pull in the big crowds in the classic era of British motorcycle racing in the 1950s and 60s. They all raced here, grim-faced men in black leathers who looked permanently 40. John Surtees, the only man to win world titles on 2 and 4 wheels. Little Bill Ivy, here winning the prestigious King of Brands trophy. And Giacomo Agostini and the mighty MV Agusta, a combination that still holds the record number of world championships. And of course, the greatest of them all, the immortal Mike Aylward.
The next big bike racing boom at Brands came in the 1970s with the arrivals of Americans like Kenny Roberts and Gary Nixon, with fancy Formula 750s, coloured leathers, full-face helmets and slick tyres, only to find out what flamboyance was in the shape of a young Barry Sheene. But it wasn't until 1993 that Brands Hatch staged its first World Championship motorcycle round, with the Irish round of the World Superbike Championships, here in Kent.
Whittam jumps off in the biggest way.
Oh,
Whittam then on the power. Oh, dear me, Jamie Whittam. Baromino on the power, cuts tight, and really gives Burton no chance of coming back. Or does he? They're boxing up now. Foggy has got to make a move soon, and he makes it at Paddock Hill Bend. Gobert goes for it up the inside. Well, we said that somebody could do it, and it was Gobert. Gobert has gone back in front of Edwards. Edwards challenges on power though, but Gobert on the brakes is scary to behold. Will he hold on to the corner? Yes, he does. These guys side by side as they go to Paddock. Who's it going to be at the end of the break? That guy goes through.
Go Kaczynski!
Kaczynski goes through at 30, so through goes Tom Kaczynski. No, he doesn't kill. He gets back under it. Second now goes Gobert. Gobert goes second. Indicate, signals, manoeuvre, and past he goes.
Oh, big. You've got to keep it steady over Dingle.
Oh,
Here's Gobert.
Gobert. Gobert is through at Sterling. Oh, dear me, I'm going to have a heart failure. Look at Fogarty, looking at the inside of Hodgson. Going up the inside, does he? Yes, he does. Look at this, Keeley blast up the inside of Gobert. Is he going to hang on to it on the brakes at Paddock? Well, you're up against one of the toughest on the brakes, but Gobert has to give best to the Italian. Oh, big
that's
crash
Hodgson.
It's down Dingle now, goes up underneath Gobert. He beats Gobert in the best place possible. Oh, loses the front as he comes to the top of Dingle now. Superb. Oh, he's down. Fogarty's in the bails. Carl Fogarty crashes out here at Brands Hatch.
There's an awful lot of jingoism and flag waving around Brands Hatch this weekend, but whether the winner's from New Zealand, Italy, the United States or Blackburn, come Sunday, true race fans will roar their heads off for the personalities, not the nationalities, of the fastest men in the world.
Giancarlo Falapa takes the win of round one, the Irish round of the World Superbike Championship 1993. The crowd go mad. He's going to wheelie over the line. Everybody jumps up and down. His first win ever on any motorcycle at Brands Hatch. What a great day. It's Fogarty over the line to take another double. 2 out of 2. Carl Fogarty does it again in fine style. Here is your race leader, Keeley. He's into the right-hander at Clearways. Round the right-hander, on the power. Keeley is going to take the flag. Yeah, Francesco Keeley has been superb.
What a race. What a race. Superbikes at Brands. Can you beat it? Is there any better place to be?
Well, the last bend of the last lap, Troy Causa, the class act from Australia, is about to take the second leg here at Brands Hatch. Over the line goes, yes he does, takes the checkered flag. Troy Causa is the winner here at Brands Hatch. Race 2 is his. While we wait for the restart of race 1 here at Brands Hatch, it gives us an opportunity to take a look at just how exciting qualifying was. I almost lost my breath watching this. It was so exciting. Now's your chance to see it too. Look at this. Carl Fogarty has gone quicker at the split time. Carl Fogarty is quicker at the split time. Whoa, he is absolutely on it now, isn't he? 42.019 at the split time. That's quicker than before, and he looks like he's cruising. Excuse me, Carl Fogarty looks to me like he's taking his time out there. He looks to me like a man that can just pop in fastest time on fastest time. We're only a short distance now from finding out whether Carl Fogarty has managed, after being out there for just a couple of laps, to go even quicker. If he manages to go quicker this time, I would suggest that there is nobody going to touch him for pole. Here he comes to the line. We wait to see whether he's going to be quicker. 24, 26, yes! Carl Fogarty goes faster. 1:26.704. Carl Fogarty, well, underlines, reinforces, duffs up the entire field. Fogarty goes quicker. Keeley's up to second, Julian, getting across you. Keeley has gone second. Well, he was provisionally the fastest man out on the track. Fogarty goes over the line again. We look to see if his time jumps up. Keeley's just, yes it does. Fogarty goes quicker again. Fogarty has just put in a faster time than the one before. What is this man on? He is going faster by the second. There it is. Another tenth of a second knocked off. 1:26.594 compared with his 1:26.704 previously. Every lap Fogarty does is a fast one.
Kaczynski up to third. Kaczynski, who hadn't improved at all. Oh, the little devil's at it again. He's leapt up to third place. He's in the 26, the 26.5s.
Yeah, 26.5 then for Kaczynski. So all the front row men are now on the 1:26 mark. Everyone else is still in 27. Here he is on the Cadbury's Boost Yamaha. Neil Mackenzie, he's going for another quick lap. He's on another flyer. 41 is Neil Mackenzie. fourth on the grid. He's in the 26s, 1:26.783, just a tenth of a second slower than John Kaczynski on the Works Honda. We got him on the clock. Here he comes to the line. 25, 26, and he goes faster. He goes even faster.
Oh.
Mackenzie goes second. Mackenzie goes second. Neil Mackenzie, the Scotsman. This entire track is going bananas. The circuit commentator's going to have a heart attack, and so are we. Oh, Keely's got pole. Keely has got pole. So Pierre Francesco Keely has picked up the gauntlet and smashed everybody in the face with it. Keely then he was on provisional pole yesterday. The Italian has come back to grab provisional pole again. Neil Hodgson, we're watching him, number 9, here he is, down towards Clearways now, harder, 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 on the brakes. In front of him is Mackenzie, 41 is Mackenzie, he comes to the line, that's not going to balk Hodgson. Hodgson flying, 121, 122, wait for it, is it going to be Hodgson on pole? Hodgson, yes, Hodgson goes faster, so Hodgson moves up, 1:26.177 in his time, but it's not good enough to take it away from Keely and Fogarty.
You found half a second on the opposition yesterday. You found another half second this afternoon. Where are you getting this extra speed from?
Yeah, because mechanics working good, the tire working good. Everybody try to do the best, and I have to do that for all my team.
Frankie working good too, huh?
Yeah, I have to do because they working hard.
We come here looking for the first 3 rows because the first 12 guys are real fast riders. They're all on factory bikes going really fast all year, so we've got to be realistic because we're a low-tech, low-budget team. But we have got good bikes. So first 3 rows would have done, but we're obviously over the moon with the front row.
My best lap came on the second lap, and I was really surprised to see the time, so I tried to go again because I knew on the second lap when I did my best time that I could go quicker. I wasn't very fast on the left side. I wanted to get the tyre more time to get warm. But when I tried to go again, I got stuck behind the back marker, then I tried again, the bike then gone off, but, you know, it was all right.
I knew I had to do a fast lap, and at one stage I looked at my pit board and it said P11, and I didn't fancy starting from 11th on the grid, so came in, changed some tyres, and went out and went for it, and thankfully I saw a good lap time when I went over the line, so I was chuffed.
Well, fantastic. Neil Hodgson then will start on the front row of the grid. We can't wait to see how he managed to do that once we get to the restart. We can now tell you exactly what's coming up this afternoon. The restart has now been delayed a further 15 minutes. 1:15 is the start of race 1. It'll be a full race again, and Mackenzie, I remind you, will be back on the grid, seeing as he wasn't in the first place. 2:30 p.m. Supersport World Series. That is a great race too. Scott Smart and other British interest will be entertaining us through that. World Superbikes at 3:45 p.m. now. Race 2, we've all been delayed throughout the day. That's what we've got for you this afternoon. And we can take another look at the grid. This is how they're going to line up for the World Superbike race once they get back down there. Poleman Keely, we heard from him a little earlier. Carl Fogarty in second place on the grid. Neil Hodgson in third. It's been a great performance for him. Remember, he's still injured after that motocross incident that well, didn't break his knee, but certainly didn't do it a lot of good. Neil Mackenzie, we've got to call him a veteran, but he's a very fast one there in fourth place on the grid for the restart. Row 2, Simon Crafar in front of his teammate Akira Yanagawa. John Kaczynski, 4 points behind Carl Fogarty in the championship, but a long way behind him in time here on the grid at the moment. Fogarty starts on the front row, Kaczynski from the second row. Pier Giorgio Bontempi rounds out row 2. Row 3, Aaron Slight, third in the championship, and back on the third row. Jamie Whittam in 10th place, Scott Russell in 11th, and Sean Emmett there doing a good job on a privateer Ducati. Row 4, Chris Walker on the Works Yamaha, Mike Hale, Steve Hislop on the Kawasaki, and Michael Rutter there in 16th place. Well, you saw from our rundown there that we've got the Supersport World Series race coming up. We can take a look now at their season so far, and it started wet. Round 1 of the Supersport World Series started at Misano in Italy, and it was held in a monsoon.
It's even wetter for the super sports than for the superbikes. Lots of wheels been off the line, especially from number 41. Michael Paquet, the Belgian, but it's the Kawasaki man up the inside at the first corner, Keith.
Yeah, but Tochi Kawasaki up the inside indeed for number 31. What a superb start from him. Paquet leads though, look at this, Meregali, and Perovino comes up the inside. Well, you thought it was dry with Perovino driving like that.
No, it wasn't. Oh, we have a German bird, Schick, in the sandpit, and he's taken somebody with him.
The marshal's trying to retrieve his bike, but Schick goes down, and, well, the other guy had no choice, really, but to follow in him sympathy, almost. I mean, what fun we're having in the weather here. But look at this, Perovino up the inside, and he pushes Paquet, literally. Paquet's got his knee in Perovino's fairing, but Perovino goes through, and another man hopples out. Well, Barr is out.
Yep, meanwhile, back at the front, Perovino leads from Paquet. Meregali and Guareschi third and fourth, and that's the leader, Perovino down.
Disaster. Well, we're going to see a song and dance now, Julian, because he will not be happy about that. But
foot down.
Yeah, well, I mean, the front end had gone, and he tried to save it. He's a good motocrosser, actually, Perovino, and he needed to be there. So Paquet then now being hunted down by number 6, Vittoriano Guareschi. And Guareschi, he's come from a long way back, Julian. He's got in front of Meregali as well now.
Yep, Meregali also from way back. Oh no, who's that one?
That is it Guareschi?
Paquet.
Paquet. Paquet is down and out. So Paquet is out. He's restarted the bike. Well, wait for the bike to dig in. Yep. Got the power on. The marshal's getting sand in their face. Here's mud in your eye, boys. We're off.
Yes, Michael Paquet. Oh, that's Guareschi. Guareschi as well.
Guareschi down, trying to pick the bike up. That doesn't look like that's going the same way as Paquet's, that's for sure. Oh, look, he saved it. He lost it. Hand down. That's not going to help him. Into the barrier. Well, he was very lucky to be able to get up and walk away from that. No protection on the barrier there. You just wouldn't expect a bike to crash into it.
Well,
Meregali then the leader.
Yeah, and Paquet up into second. Paquet fallen off, got back on, he's second, and his countryman Mertens in third.
Meanwhile, they fall down. Number 7, corner goes. Oh, take that.
Skittles.
So number 64, without even knowing anything about it, gets a complete punt from behind. I bet he's happy.
Meanwhile, Belgium versus Belgium. Paquet on the inside, Stefan Mertens on the outside. Honda versus Suzuki. This is the dice for second and third. Oh my!
Mahe, he's up out the saddle and
cheeky.
Don't need an invitation, do we? Back with the race leader, Massimo Meregali on the Yamaha. He's on his last lap, but look at this battle down the field at the moment, Julian, and it's going to run right to the wire.
This is for fourth. Mahe going inside Garcia. Garcia leans on him. Brave men. Jeff de Vries waiting to pick up the pieces, I think.
Brave's not the word I was thinking of. Over the line, just sideways on for the last time. It's going to be Meregali. He takes the checkered flag. What a great ride from him.
And the two Belgians come through, we think, second and third. Yep, Mertens in front of Paquet, the guy who fell and remounted. And then the battle for fourth, that is won by Eric Mahe in front of Marc Garcia and Jeff de Vries. Winner of the opening round of the Supersport 600 World Series is this man, Massimo Meregali.
Round 2 was at Donington Park, and British fans were focused on an up-and-coming star, Scott Smart.
4 Ducatis on the front row, and we have blast off. Watch for Raiders, a good smooth start, but Scott, he's been mired back in the pack. Perovino at the front. Oh, Casoli alongside him, and it's Casoli and Paquet number 41 coming sweeping round the outside into third place.
Yeah, Paolo Casoli made a wonderful start there. He cut across in front of Perovanos as they head off down. Everyone safely through Redgate Corner, down through Craner Curves. This is the time when you hope your tyres are warm enough. Fortunately not. Oh, and they aren't. And he's off.
Dear me, was that Casoli? That was a horrible crash. Or was that Perovino? There he goes up the inside, Scott Smart. Not two at once, he does. What a classy manoeuvre. Mertens after him.
Oh! That was really close. He's getting in the slipstream now. They're coming up in top, and he's just giving a nice little wave, saying, I'm coming through, but he needs to be on the inside to come through, or is he going to go right round the outside? He does. That was unbelievable. He used the speed of that Ducati. He got a great exit out of Coppice Corner, and that was just perfect.
Oh, Scott, what are you doing?
Oh, my goodness, Scott Smart was off the track there. We can't quite make out exactly where it was.
Is that down towards McLean's? It was, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly hasn't. I don't know how much ground he's lost, but well, look, he's right the way back down. He's lost about 7 or 8 places.
There he goes again.
He's got brake problems. That's Scott Smart. Smart is in the gravel again, so that is really, really bad luck. He must have some kind of a problem. He's trying to get out of the gravel. You can see the rear wheel spinning, but either a brake problem or something like that. He was just running way too deep into the corners.
Dear me, number 6 Qureshi going up inside of Mertens.
Yeah, and he did it. Just down into the Melbourne loop there, and he just stuck it up the inside of him. Number 6 there, Garachi, goes down the inside, and he does do it. That's an Aaron Slight for you, and he'll block a little bit, chucks the bike across, so there he goes, up into 4th spot, 3rd spot. These two, and he's looking on the inside, and he's through. So number 7 there, Thomas Corner goes through. Oh, God!
Oh, no!
That was such bad luck for Garachi, for Mercalli there. That was unbelievable.
This is just a brilliant ride by the Paolo Gasly, just a demonstration. It's the only word I can think of, a demonstration ride. There's the checkered flag, and I haven't seen a more deserved win for quite a long time. Mertens has got problems. He's running out of fuel, Steve.
He is. Stefan Mertens is running out of fuel at this point. We said barring disasters, he's going to get past. Thomas Corner is up the inside of him because you saw him moving the bike around, and he's through. Thomas Corner goes through to 2nd place on the last corner. What a disaster for Stefan Mertens, who crosses the line now in 3rd spot.
Drama all the way to the wire. Next stop, Hockenheim in Germany. Joining Julian Ryder in the commentary box was none other than the entertaining Scott Smart.
Nearest for us is Paolo Casoli, and not a good start to Stefan Chambon.
Got off the line quickest, I think.
Yeah, that's number 24, the bike that Scott Smart rode at Donington Park. That peels in. Yes, it is. Chambon peels in first into the first, and now we're into Paquet is there, number 41. 26 is the pole sitter Casoli. And now look at that, Paquet has got to the front. He made that move coming into the stadium. That'll be a move under brake to the end of the straight. Yeah. Michael Paquet has got to stay that close to him. Barge in front of him going into the stadium.
Paquet's certainly a lot nicer through there. I mean, Casserly ran him way too deep and hot there, but you would have noticed the Superbike guys on the last couple of laps they were doing that, getting in a little bit too hot and really giving themselves a hard time on the way out.
Look at that!
Pirovano comes straight to the front with better drive.
Yep, better drive, big hole in the air from the 2 men in front of him, and the injured Pirovano fights Gasly, but Pirovano passes lap 2:09, and we're down around qualifying time. Although we're half a second a little bit off it, but they're getting down to some seriously quick lapping. Number 1 pulling up the slipstream, or rather hanging in the slipstream of his teammate 24 Stefan Chambon, the Frenchman, and they make no impression on Gasly and Paquet. In fact, Paquet again, demon on the brakes across the nose. 3 of them, 41 Paquet of Belgium on the Honda, leads the Ducatis of 26 Casserly, 24 Chambon and 1 Pirovano. 3 abreast, 4
abreast into the chicane.
Chambon hits the front for the first time since the start. I thought they dropped him off after a couple of laps, but the boys got guts. We look back downfield. Goodbye, sir.
Number 11 on the Kawasaki.
Off the Kawasaki now in big style.
Peter Collar.
Oof, that's expensive.
Oh, Pirovano's hit the front for the first time.
And he's immediately putting a squirt on to get away from him. 10 bike lengths over Stefan Chambon, then Michael Paquet, then Paolo Gasly. 1 Pirovano. We see Paquet go to the front. The Belgian on number 41 takes the Frenchman on number 24. Pirovano number 1 and Gasly number 26, the 2 Italians waiting, lurking with intent. Number 6, the Belgada Yamaha, and that's the Italian importer's bike we're talking about. So think of it as a factory bike as Paquet gets close, nips
the speed
out.
of Pirovano's bike from 4th place to 2nd and possibly to the lead.
Big. No, it's still
Gasly on the brakes.
Sideways.
Qureshi up the inside to 2nd place. He certainly doesn't want to let go of this win chance yet.
Gasly is the wildest man out there. He has been. Scott thinks his tyres have been going off for quite a while, but Gasly doesn't care. He leads down. Pirovano and Qureshi not in that order. But yeah, what's pain for Fabrizio Pirovano? Look at him.
Up the inside.
Where's Chambon? He's round the outside on 24. Gasly chops the nose off. Pirovano comes through the 2nd. What a sight through the Os curve. This track is wonderful. Somebody blown?
Pirovano's
blown. What?
Disastrous last lap for him.
That was terrible.
He goes straight on, which leaves Paquet in the lead.
It's going to be Michael Paquet, the Belgian, on the Honda, trapped by a drag race to the flag by Paolo Gasly.
Gasly's going to give up. Who's going to make it to the line first? Paquet.
Yes.
Casserly. Chambon. Qureshi.
The drama and excitement of the Supersport World Series move to Italy for round 4 in the series. Monza is a beautiful place, but not in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Walking round the room, singing stormy weather at 57 Mount Pleasant Street. Well, it's the same room, but everything's different. You can fight the sleep, but not the dream. Things ain't cooking in my kitchen. Strange affliction wash over me. Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire couldn't conquer the blue sky. Well, there's a small boat made of China. It's going nowhere on the mantelpiece.
You rejoin us live at Brands Hatch with race 1, the restart, about to start in under 10 minutes. Live pictures, they're down on the grid. This is what's coming up during the rest of the programme. At 1:15, World Superbike Race 1. 2:30 p.m, the Supersport World Series. And we've got some world-class riders being challenged by some Brits in that race. Also, 3:45, delayed, of course, because of the delay on race 1, the World Superbike Race 2 for the European round here at Brands Hatch. There's Carl Fogarty then, down on the grid. Race 1 coming up live in just a few moments. We'll take a short break. We'll see you in just a moment. Welcome back to Brands Hatch. And everyone is in position, including us, for the restart of race 1 here at Brands Hatch. We have less than 5 minutes to go before that start. And Carl Fogarty is in second place on the grid alongside the poleman Pier Francesco Chili. So quite a lot to be done here, isn't there? It's been an anxious wait, over an hour since the accident that stopped the race, John. I think what we need to do is come to a few predictions from you really with this, don't you? You've had plenty of time to think about it, and we've even had part of a race to look at it first. Who would you say is going to win this?
I'd like to see Carl win it. I'm sure he can, and I think he will. Second place probably Pierre, Frankie, and third Crafer. That's my prediction.
No Honda riders in there anywhere.
Well, you know, I actually predicted that Kaczynski was going to win one of the races, but having seen the first 3 or 4 laps, he was not really on the pace. But I'm sure he's going to be trying for it. But
and what about that Scotsman, of course, Neil Mackenzie starting on the front row? His footrest fell off as far as that's on the warm-up lap. That's why he didn't make it to the grid. That's a disaster for him, but he's got another chance.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible thing to happen, really. But yeah, he's got another chance, and I mean, yeah, I'd love to see Neil up on the roster in there. You know, and even to win one of the races would be superb for him. But we'll see. He needs to get a good start. That's one thing he does need to do.
You've been wandering around. The track has been resurfaced. The Honda riders said that they liked it better. Carl Fogarty said he didn't notice a lot of difference. What's the truth in it all?
Yeah, it's a lot grippier. I noticed when we were here, we were lapping a second quicker than we ever have done before on the short circuit. So, yeah, it's grippier. Also in the wet as well. It's amazing.
Well, down on the grid, we've got the effervescent Jonathan Green, probably still on the rev limiter, knowing him.
No, I've gone down to just a little roll. I'm letting these guys do the rev limiting. Quick comment before you go, Sean. Have you been able to gather your nerves and calm yourself?
Yeah, I felt really good in the first one. Got up to 6, so you know, let's hope I can get a good start and get away with it.
Best of luck again. Hope you get another good start. Well, Sean Emmett and all the boys have had to get their nerves together, get themselves calmed again for the restart. Back to you, Keith. They're about to go up on the warm-up lap.
Yeah, it's nice to be appreciated, isn't it, Jonathan, there? I noticed that Sean wanted to speak to you. Back with John Reynolds here. Restart about to get underway. What about the likes of Sean Emmett? He's quick here at Brands. He's an ex-Grand Prix man, and he's qualified quite well, too.
Yeah, he's going to go well, but the fact is, if you're not off with the first 4 or 5 in the first 3 or 4 laps, you're going to be struggling because you can't really make time up at the end of the race because everybody's so fast. And if he's in 10th, he's, you know, likely to stay 10th or even further back if he doesn't watch what he's doing.
Okay, well, we can go back to our commentary position now. Julian Ryder is in there, ready to take up the pace. I'm going to be joining in a second. I think this race is going to be something to behold.
Yeah, Keith, it always is at Brands Hatch. We love this track. It has its faults, but it produces spectacular racing. We're looking back from Carl Fogarty at the two Kawasaki's, and also, of course, just on the left of your picture, number 3 there, John Kaczynski, the man who is only 4 points behind Carl Fogarty in the World Championship. The grid, Keeley on pole, again, for the second time running. Foggy, second, Hodgson, third, Mackenzie, fourth. Remarkable stuff from Neil Mackenzie, 36 years old, on his British Championship bike. There are no factory bits on that Yamaha. Remarkable stuff from the Scotsman. On row 2, we start with Simon Crafar and Akira Yanagawa. You just saw them. Kaczynski is next to them on the Honda. He's the first of the two Hondas, and Pier Giorgio Bontempi's 8th place qualifying was a revelation. That's the best we've seen from him all year. He used to be a front runner, but he's suddenly found some pace again. Good to see him back. Aaron Slight should not be back on row 3. He really shouldn't. Jim Whittam, Scott Russell, that Yamaha team looked good on Friday and struggled yesterday. Then Sean Emmett, we had a quick word with him. That's a great showing from the privateer. No matter what they say in the British Championship, Sean Emmett is a privateer. Row 4, Chris Walker struggling to come to terms with the factory Yamaha this one-off ride. Mike Hale, teammate for Jim Whittam. Stevie Hislop on Ray Stringer's spare Kawasaki. That's a great qualification. There's Mike Rutter, the only other Honda of any note on the grid, the V&M bike we're used to seeing in the British Championship. Further down I go, Hayden, Ray Stringer. Behind the bike, he is lent to Stevie Hislop. Igor German and Pere Riba Cabana, the Spaniard, rounds out row 5. Sampson, Giles, Marks, British Championship privateers, and then Cantalupo, a regular back row man, if you will, an Italian on a Ducati. That is the grid for the first race at the European Superbike round here at Brands Hatch. And Keith, we're going to get a stunner, aren't we? We really are.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be well and truly pumped up for this restart because, of course, 25 laps, the race distance for the restart as well. It's over full distance. And the weather, well, it looks like it's cleared fairly well to me. It looked as if it was blowing in a little bit cloudy earlier on, but that's all gone now. And coming to the grid, we're looking out of our box at poleman Pier Francesco Keeley. Then the fans' hands go up to the man that's just in front of number 6 there, Simon Crafar. It is, of course, number 4, Carl Fogarty. We've got the privilege of being right here, front row position for us as we look down on the grid. 25 laps are on the board. The red flag is out at the moment. We're sitting on board with Carl Fogarty. All 4 men now along the front row. Mackenzie has managed to start. So we have on the front row, Keeley, Fogarty, Hodgson and Mackenzie. 3 British riders on the front row of a World Championship race. Been a little while since that's happened, Jules.
Oh, I can't begin to answer that one, Keith. My trivia's not up to that, but it's
well,
a very,
then in
very
that
long
case,
time.
we'll just have to see how you do with the race because you're going to really have to be across it. It goes green, and it's a flyer from Hodgson. Hodgson gets a good, and Neil Mackenzie gets a flyer too. That is the rarest thing in British racing. Neil Mackenzie getting off the line on time. Well, the Scotsman on bike 41 is gone as well, but it's Hodgson that leads up towards Druids. Mackenzie in second place. Then it is John Kaczynski on the Honda. Wow, certainly Kaczynski managed to get the tyres spinning. He's off and running. Behind him is Carl Fogarty on bike number 4, and the rest, Hodgson is away. Well, when is the day going to come that he wins a World Superbike race? It can't be far away. Kaczynski goes second. Kaczynski sneaks under Mackenzie for second place. Mackenzie gets a little bit of a wheelie there, so the Scotsman, bit of work to do.
It is. Well, Kaczynski came through from the second row. We didn't see anything of him in that stop short race. He was back in 10th, but John has not repeated his mistake. He is off and running. We'll do the championship points much later in the race. But Neil Mackenzie, as you said, Keith, if he could start like that in British Superbike racing, no one would see the way he goes.
Fogarty looking at Mackenzie. We're on board with Carl Fogarty. That is Neil Mackenzie just in front of him. We're coming to the right-hander at Dingledale, and over the curb goes Mackenzie. There is Rudder going through on the V&M bike. Number 40 was Rudder. So,
and Keith, Sean Emmett, number 44, was well up in that leading group. He got a good start.
Coming down the clearways, Hodgson has a clear lead over John Kaczynski in second place, who's closing in at the moment. Neil Mackenzie's third. In fourth place is Carl Fogarty. Then it's Kawasaki. I think it's Crafar on bike number 6. They come to the line for the first time. Hodgson comes to the line. 9 is Hodgson. 3 is Kaczynski. 4 is Fogarty. Fogarty, does he get underneath Mackenzie? Yes, he does. Fogarty's there. There he is. Mackenzie goes back to fourth on bike 41. Wow, what a race this is going to be.
And that Kawasaki there is Simon Crafar, number 6, snaking on brakes for Druids. Looking at back into Neil Mackenzie now behind him, the poleman Pierre Francesco Keeley. So it's the normal suspects plus Neil Mackenzie. But isn't it great to see Neil Hodgson romping away at the front of the race? I do so hope that his knee is up to 2 full-length races here. I really do.
Well, it's a pretty fast opening lap, 1 minute 31.4. That's not bad for an opening lap from a standing start. Hodgson, Kaczynski, Fogarty now closing in on Kaczynski closing in on Hodgson. This is going to be close. Crafar in 4th place. Mackenzie has gone back to 5th place now, so Neil Mackenzie feeling the pace of these works bikes in front of him, and really, well, he always knew that it was going to be tough.
Kaczynski looking ominous in 2nd place. The guy is closing in slowly but surely on Neil Hodgson. The gap back to Carl Fogarty was over a second last time round. You can see there visually it is shrinking. Carl is on the charge, but they won't be up to racing temperature yet with their tyres. They won't be quite at full pace yet, Keith.
No, that's absolutely right. And the good thing about Hodgson being where he is, apart from the fact that it's nice to see Neil in front, of course, is that he may just hold Kaczynski up for a split second or two and give Fogarty, the man in 3rd place that we're on board with at Clearways at the moment, a chance to close in. Oh, I love these shots. The clouds in the sky, past our commentary position, up towards paddock. And Kaczynski looks at the inside into paddock. You need to be pretty decisive just there. Well, John Kaczynski, whatever his qualifying time, the Honda boys never seem to be worried about their qualifying position this weekend. They all said that they liked the track and it was working well for them, but they're leaving it to the race to show us just what they were truly capable of, because Kaczynski didn't look this quick in qualifying.
Hodgson doing just the right job here, just like, because if John Kaczynski gets in front and gets a lead early on, it's good night nurse, isn't it?
Yeah, but the only man in the 26s at the moment is Carl Fogarty in 4th place. Everyone else out of the fast guys is in the 1 minute 27s. Fogarty, though, in 3rd place is faster than everybody. He's got the fastest lap. Hodgson, Kaczynski, Fogarty. Fogarty closes in. So does Kaczynski. Into that frightening right-hander. That was the corner that the accident was on when race 1 had to be stopped some hour or so ago. There it is, Fogarty's fastest lap so far. We're on board with him. That's Kaczynski in front of him. He's right with him at the bottom of Dingledale. We come to the top. This is a great set of corners here. My favourite of Brands Hatch. Even I remember them.
Really? Yanagawa said it's the most scary ones that you had most trouble coming to terms with.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
What does that tell you?
I'm not sure. We'll worry about that later. But watch his teammate, Simon Crafar, number 6, that Kawasaki. That guy is such a nice bloke. The intensity of his desire to win this weekend, when he talked to me last night, was frightening.
We have a 5-way battle at the moment for the lead. Kaczynski, he tried it on last lap round. This time he makes it. John Kaczynski hits the front in front of the teammates, Hodgson and Fogarty. Kaczynski ran wide, but I don't think it's cost him too dearly. Look at Fogarty. Whoa! Steady on, boy. Through went Neil Hodgson, though, to take the lead. We're on board with Fogarty. That's the rear end of John Kaczynski.
Bare-knuckle stuff at Druids, really bare-knuckle stuff. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen for the Dukes is that Kaczynski doesn't escape, but I warn you again, watch for Simon Crafar.
Watch this, because Fogarty is quick into this corner here, and you don't have to say anything, Julian, because we can see it. Because Crafar is right on the case. That Kawasaki is due.
It is, and that's Keeley on the end of the leading group. The pole start.
There it is.
Look at that.
Crafar quickest on lap 3. Crafar gets it. So, we're on board with Fogarty. He is still in 3rd place, but under severe pressure from number 6, Simon Crafar. Don't forget number 7 behind Crafar, Pierre Francesco Keeley. He was pole man, and he warms up nicely.
He's not a man that gets a good start usually, is he, Frankie? So he's up with the leading group from the start. He'll be there to Scott Russell next up, then Yanagawa.
Absolutely, and Mackenzie slipping back and back and back now. Number 41, Mackenzie, something back in 8th place, I would think. This pace is very, very hot early on, though. Really is. Crafar on 26s. Russell's on 26s as well. Keeley's on 26s. This is all very, very fast. Here's Fogarty. Clearways corner. He's building in the slipstream of Kaczynski up the inside on the brakes. Expect Foggy to take a discretionary route.
I think so. I mean, we support Foggy. We want Foggy to win, but you must remember that John Kaczynski is one of the best riders we've seen in years, and his desire to win this championship could never, ever be underestimated.
Yeah, for sure. Hodgson, Kaczynski. Oh! Foggy's down, and Crafar's with him. Foggy loses the rear end, and Simon Crafar could do nothing about it. That is a disaster for the World Championship for Carl Fogarty. Well, that bike is run, and he is very, very unhappy. That is a disaster for Carl Fogarty. The whole place has gone quiet. Brands Hatch is deathly quiet. Fogarty is out of race 1 here at Brands Hatch. Let's take another look at it. Loses the rear end, and Crafar could do nothing but run into Fogarty's bike. Crafar is the unlucky man. Per Francesco Keeley just finished. Just dodged the right wrist. We can take a look at it now from on board. He's behind Kaczynski. He's trying to get the power on hard. Breaks away. Down he goes. There's no save once it's got to that point. Already Crafar is down and in the barrier. So Carl Fogarty, look at that. That's a big high side coming his way. Oh. And takes out Simon Crafar. Crafar was lucky to be able to get up and walk away from that. Keeley missed him, Whittam missed him. There is Michaela and Anthony Bass, chief technician. Michaela is Carl Fogarty's wife, and she has a hand in her hair. Foggy's out, but Hodgson picks up the mantle for the Virginio Ferrari team. Hodgson, it's now his turn to try and do it for Great Britain himself and for Virginio Ferrari. Number 9, Hodgson leads. Number 3, Kaczynski in second place. He now, if he carries on like this, will be in front in the World Championship. Behind him in third place, Pier Francesco Keeley. This is just what John Kaczynski needed.
Keith, when will he know that Fogarty's out? He couldn't have seen that crash. His team will give him a board next time round.
Next time round, he will know Foggy is out. Don't think it'll make any difference, though, because he looks pretty comfortable. He'll continue at this pace. It's not like he's stretching himself at this minute. He might even concede third place if he wants to. But remember, Fogarty has come back many, many times in these circumstances in the World Championship. So even if John Kaczynski manages to grab maximum points here, it won't make any difference because Carl Fogarty will be trying for him. But Foggy will be kicking himself after that one.
Well, out of the 2 championship leaders, Carl Fogarty and John Kaczynski, that is the first time either of them will fail to finish a race.
Not a lot talking going on here. Look, Carl Fogarty and Simon Crafar dejectedly walk back. Fogarty is disgusted. He is upset. Simon Crafar is disappointed.
Very.
It wasn't Crafar's fault. Oh, James Hayden. James Hayden out. He's got a steam engine, not a Ducati, so James Hayden is out. Look at Hodgson. Hodgson looking very, very good at the moment. And while we carry on about backing on about crashes, Hodgson is easing away. Well, I saw his mum last night in the bar. She seemed to be in good spirits. And son Hodgson is as well, and Keeley comes through. So Kaczynski now knows that Foggy is out of this race. Keeley has come round. That denies Kaczynski another 4 points if it stays that way. But look behind, 22, Scott Russell, closing in on the Yamaha. His qualification time was disgustingly disappointing. And Mr. Cool himself has obviously done the best of it. There is the passing manoeuvre. Keeley underneath Kaczynski into Paddock Hill Bend. It is Hodgson that leads, Keeley in second place, Kaczynski third, and number 22, Scott Russell, in fourth place.
It's now up to the Ducati battalions at the front. Hodgson and Keeley. Here comes Keeley.
Keeley charging. Oh, he lit the fuse a lap ago. Was taking a good look at the inside then at Hodgson. Hodgson's bike looks good. So Neil Hodgson's fitness is now going to come into it. He's got, what, 19 laps left to go. 18 and a half laps to be precise. That's a long, long way at Brands Hatch.
It is, but Keeley, the pole sitter, the man who had his best weekend ever in Superbike here last year, is right there. Scott Russell, they must have done something right earlier today.
Number 2, Aaron Slight was still in the hunt. He's back in 5th place now. He's managed to muscle his way to the front of that pack. In there as well. Well, here's Sean Emmett, James Whittam and Neil McKenzie rounding out 6, 7 and 8. There's Foggy and Slick. Slick, well, Carl hasn't even dared take his helmet off yet. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a tear in there, you know, at that particular point, because I think he's so let down. Now then, Hodgson and Keeley do battle. Hodgson is back. Well, Keeley may have had just about a wheel's width in front for a moment there, but then Hodgson was going through. Neil Hodgson, what pressure this young man is under. Hard to believe he's still 23 years old. Keeley, well, Keeley found himself a bit hot in the middle of there, really, his own mistake, and he allowed John Kaczynski back under him. He's let Kaczynski off a bit there, but that gives Hodgson a chance to get away.
Well, this is what we need. If you're Neil Hodgson fans, this is exactly what we need. Kaczynski and Keeley duffing each other up for second and third. And believe me, Scott Russell's going to get in terms of that fight very soon indeed. That's a remarkable piece of work from the Yamaha team to get it competitive after the disaster of qualifying yesterday and a really bad warm-up this morning.
Look at the power of that Honda down the straight there, though. Keeley was right in the slipstream and could do nothing about John Kaczynski. John Kaczynski just powered the Honda away. Now then, this is the bit of the track, of course, that was a bit ripply, and the Hondas didn't like it round here at all, but now it's as smooth as it comes. It's a baby's bottom, I was about to say.
Well, you can, Keith, and they will allow that.
Hodgson leads, Kaczynski second, but look at Keeley all over Kaczynski. He wants to sort him, doesn't he?
He does, and Scott Russell is number 22, the Yamaha man. Well, this is a fantastic World Superbike race. This is a wonderful stuff. Brands Hatch usually gives us this, Keith, doesn't it? Aaron Slight closing in 5th as well. He could get on terms with this. But Keeley and Kaczynski, the boys to watch at the moment, the battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, watch Keeley now, getting the power on round Clearways, taking a run if he can. Kaczynski gets underneath Kaczynski, but Kaczynski we know is very good on the brakes when it comes to paddock. Yes, he is indeed. That Honda is a flyer. It really has got that mid-range grunt. It really grunts along the front. Not particularly quick track. They're only doing 250 kilometres an hour along the front there. Well, I suppose not quick if you're used to it.
Yeah, well, I'm not, Keith. That number always scares me. We're at Druids. 5th place is Aaron Slight. They're close.
Oh,
hello,
Mackenzie.
Jim. Hello, Neil.
Neil Mackenzie straight under Jim Whittam. So, James, that could be British Championship Part 2, really, couldn't it?
Last year. That was just like last year in British Championship when they were both on the Cadbury's Yamahas. But the old man, Mackenzie, just reminding his teammate who won it last year, I feel there.
Yeah, but James won more races.
I don't think Neil cares, Keith, actually.
Doesn't matter anyway, because at the moment, 41, Mackenzie is in front of James Whittam, and then it's Akira Yanagao on 8. But look who's in front of them, Sean Emmett on bike 44. So Emmett is leading all the main Brit lot.
He's in 6th, is Sean Emmett. That's a great ride. Number 44 we're talking about, Sean Emmett. He wears works plates in the British Championship, but he ain't. The guy's a privateer, little team. That is a great showing.
Amazing to see Akira Yanagawa behind them as well. Akira Yanagawa, believe it or not, is major, pole time grabber, for want of a better phrase, throughout this year of World Superbikes. Akira Yanagawa has been brilliant when it comes to setting quick times. Not getting on that well here, I think, though.
He told me last night he's a chum. He's just like Simon Crayfar, but with a different accent. You know, he's such a nice bloke.
Back with Hodgson. Hodgson getting away at the front. Kaczynski still under pressure from Keeley. Keeley trying to go around the outside. He's not going to do that on Kaczynski at paddock. I am absolutely convinced because, John Kaczynski, if he's got one braking point absolutely right, I would suggest it's Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, we must remind ourselves just what an outstanding motorcycle racer John Kaczynski is. He's a half a second nearly behind Hodgson at the moment. Keeley, well, you can't split him, can you? Scott Russell, I am amazed they've got that Yamaha sorted. A tribute to the professionalism of the David Rivios team that they've got the thing that competitive for race day.
But the ride of this race, I think, so far is going to Sean Emmett in 6th place, the ex-Grand Prix man. He's a privateer rider. He's riding the GSE Ducati. And he hasn't even got the works tyres on his bike, so expect Emmett to slip as this race goes on. He's not got the quick rubber that all the top worksmen have been given. There is an A and B team as far as the tyre manufacturers are concerned, and unfortunately Emmett is in the B team.
But he's just reminding us why he was good enough to be a Grand Prix 500 rider for 3 years, isn't he? Great stuff, Sean.
6th place at this moment. We're talking about Emmett, but we're looking at the battle for 2nd place. It's Kaczynski, number 3, in front of number 7 Keeley, and then 22 Scott Russell. This is the battle for 2nd. Through the left-hander, down towards Clearways now. It's a beautiful bit. Hodgson takes a look over his shoulder. Keeley looking to run underneath Kaczynski. Yes! Keeley goes through. Great move there from Keeley. The crowd are on their feet. Well, they've got Hodgson to cheer. Now they've got an Italian called Pier Francesco Keeley. One thing is certain, when the lineup of riders came out onto the grid, the only man that got a boo was John Kaczynski.
It's all part of the lovely slapstick of the championship rivalry between Kaczynski and Fogarty, but...
I like slapstick. That's a perfect set of words for it. It really is, because it's minor and it's not important.
It's knockabout stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just gamesmanship in my view.
That's perfectly acceptable stuff, Keith.
So then, Hodgson leads. Keeley on the charge now. Keeley chasing Hodgson and already closing in on him. So Keeley is undoubtedly the fastest man on the track. Neil Hodgson is about to have a race on his hands, and Keeley runs a bit hot into that left-hander, up onto the hill and down the back straight. Keeley, though, his bike is fast. Here comes Slighty. Slighty coming through now.
And look who's behind Slighty.
There he is.
Neil Mackenzie.
Mackenzie is superb. He seems to have got his 2nd breath at last. Mackenzie is chasing Aaron Slight. Mackenzie has the fastest lap, 1:26.622. Oh, dearie me. Maybe he had to warm those old joints up for a few laps, you know, and sort of get a bit of blood in his muscles and just calmly make his way. He got a bit of a quick start. I think that confused him.
That would have confused him, without a doubt. He had to drop back to about 8th place to remind him what it's really like. And he is harassing now Aaron Slight, number 2, on the factory Honda. And don't be con, Neil Mackenzie has not got a factory engine in that thing. That is the British Championship bike.
But he's got the top tyres. He's been given the top tyres for this race meeting, and that counts for everything in World Superbike racing. Oh, here comes Keeley. Well, Hodgson is quick and Keely's round the outside. Again, that is a hell of a move to make. If you can drop it over the nose of someone at that particular corner, you're either very brave or the man in front made a mistake.
And Scott Russell now harassing John Kosinski. Scott Russell very much on the case of John Kosinski, and British fans would rather like that, because Scotty, we didn't like him a few years ago, but when we got to really know the bloke, we come to love him.
Yeah, very intense man, very funny. There's Keely's fastest lap. Keely there, 1:26.5. So Keely charging behind Hodgson. He's after him. This could be it, because he's getting drive up and over the hill onto the back straight. Keely's bike chasing Hodgson down the back straight. Kosinski, he's well in front of Scott Russell at that point. Then it's Slight, then it's McKenzie. It looks like a Kawasaki on the charge there as well. Yanagawa has moved through. I wonder what he was doing so far back a moment ago. So Yanagawa has sorted out. Keely didn't go forward though. Keely didn't get past Hodgson. Maybe he's happy to follow Neil. Neil certainly is a smooth rider. He's easy to follow.
And Neil is looking so good, and it doesn't appear as if his knee is holding him up one little bit. That's a stupid thing to say, Julian, but it's obvious.
Here we go. There's Slightly. Well, you could say the Scot dropped back. Now the Scot is definitely back.
That'll do. That'll do just right, Keith. As Aaron Slight, number 2, powers down
Kira
to the right-hander.
though, look, Julian. Kira Yanagawa has closed in on those two almost with some ease. He was a long way behind them a moment or two ago.
I was saying earlier, I talked to Akira at some length last night. He's saying he finds Brands very difficult. Dingledale is a blind corner, and Paddock said he finds very difficult. Whoa, Neil!
The crowd are shouting round here. Well, I wasn't looking at the monitor. I listened to the crowd, and Neil has gone through on Aaron Slight. Aaron Slight has been duffed up by Neil McKenzie. Whoa, what a race this is. Hodgson doing it for Britain in front of Pierre Francesco Keely, who, remember, led over the line, but Hodgson has grabbed it back. Hodgson is there for first place. Second is Keely. Third is Kosinski. Fourth is Scott Russell. And fifth now is this man, number 41, Neil McKenzie, grabbing it, taking it away from Aaron Slight on bike number 2.
Well, I thought Neil's 7th and 8th places early in the year at Donington Park was a remarkable achievement. If he betters that here, I will just be... It's one of the great rides we've seen in years.
Now, was Neil Hodgson in some trouble there?
I think he's just tearing off a visor coaster, I think. Whoa, Keely!
That was down the bottom of Dingledale. That really was a bit special down there. Oh. Well, I don't know whether Neil was, you know. It looked a little bit graphic, really, for where he did it as well. So
yeah, strange.
maybe Hodgson has a problem. We must watch for this. He's certainly got a problem in the form of Keely at the moment, because Keely now has grabbed that front place. Number 7, Pierre Francesco Keely, leads this race again from Neil Hodgson in second place. Let's take another look at it. Bottom of Dingledale. Really forced his way through there. Just looked like Hodgson had his concentration disturbed through the right-hander leading down to that particular part of the track. Well, now, can Hodgson get in his toe?
Can Neil stay with the pace of Frankie Keely, or is Kosinski going to see he's got that problem? Is Kosinski going to put him under attack? I think he'll do that, whatever the situation. But Scott Russell in number 22, I am amazed that Yamaha is healthy enough to stay with those Dukes and the Honda. I really am shocked. Look at Neil McKenzie. What a ride.
He's clearing off from Aaron Slight. So Aaron Slight is being dropped by Neil McKenzie back in 5th place. Look at Scott Russell. Scott Russell is taking a look there at the American, his compatriot in front of him. Scott Russell.
Doesn't necessarily mean he likes him, Keith.
Absolutely. So, Scott Russell, does he get the charge on down this back straight? We wait and see. Back marker's already in the way. Through goes Keely. Hodgson has lost the place. Hodgson has gone back to 3rd because Kosinski now is through in the 2nd place.
Kosinski looks in such control, so smooth, not seeming to use as much of the track in the corners as some people, and little John in this mood, but he doesn't have to go for the win. He knows he's the only real rival for Carl Fogarty in the championship. John can just say, right, 2nd or 3rd, oh, Neil.
Dearie me, this is hectic as it comes. Scott Russell is on the case. Oh, beautiful, Scott. That was a class manoeuvre. Scott Russell then showing us just what he's capable of underneath Neil Hodgson. That was a very nicely executed manoeuvre. Russell goes 3rd, Hodgson goes 4th. Blue flag being waved furiously at clearways. Is anybody taking any notice, I wonder?
I don't think so, Keith. I think you're safe with that. Oh, Kosinski snaily.
Kosinski, he looks hot going into there.
That's the first time I've seen him out of shape in this race.
Well, he's always been very tight in there. Let's take another look at John Kosinski, Hodgson, and that perfect manoeuvre there from Scott Russell between the right and the left. Scott Russell just kept that Yamaha absolutely nailed, and through he went. But Keely is clearing off. 26.609 was his time last time round. That's quicker than anybody else. Everyone else is in 27s and 28. So Keely has cleared off.
1.68 seconds his lead last time round. John Kaczynski now giving chase, bringing Scott Russell and the Yamaha with him. Oldest bike on the track, that YZF Yamaha. It has no right to be this good. That team have worked so well this weekend, but they only got it right after a dreadful warm-up this morning and a dreadful qualifying yesterday. But Scott Russell, he can make up for it. He can ride the wheels off anything. He's been riding the wheels off that bike all year.
Well, I don't think any of us have mentioned here as Scott Russell looked at the inside then. Oh, dear me, at the bottom of Dingledale. That never used to be a passing place down there.
I don't think it is.
Oh, and he had another look at the inside of Kaczynski there. Great race here. I was about to say, I don't think we've even mentioned that he was, of course, World Superbike champion, Scott Russell.
The small matter of.
And the only we shouldn't really ignore.
Yeah, and the only bloke who got that dreadful old 500 Suzuki on the rostrum last year, twice.
Rookie of the year in the 500 Grand Prix last year for the Lucky Strike Suzuki camp, but he's back in World Superbikes this year and he's back with a bang at Brands. That's Scott Russell on bike 22 in third place. Kaczynski is in front of him, but in front of them by a mile, number 7, Pier Francesco Chili. If you've just joined us, I remind you, Carl Fogarty has crashed out of this restarted race 1 for round 7 here in the World Superbikes. Now, Scott Russell, bit of a mistake there at Druids.
Lost the pace there. Kaczynski breaks away. Keely's lead now 2.25 seconds, so Keely is piling on the pace as John Kaczynski, well, he has to defend his second place against Scott Russell, who has the red mist down good and proper at the moment. Here's your leader, and doesn't Frankie look good? He always looks good.
I think that's a bit of a hallmark on and off track. Keely through that horribly quick right-hander into the back markers now. Who is that? We'll give you a read as soon as we find out. Reba Cabana from where I was, but he's in 15th place. I can't believe that.
I think it's Richard DeFargo.
We'll see. Down at the bottom of Dingledale, looking at Scott Russell rounding up the hill behind number 3, John Kaczynski. Russell is running that bike so hard. The reason he's where he is not because of horsepower, it's because of Scott Russell. And there he goes, graphically showing us just how superb he is. But look who's homing in, Neil Mackenzie. Mackenzie is closing on this battle. Watch for Mackenzie in the background, number 41, as we watch Scott Russell fly underneath Kaczynski. But right in contention now with Neil Hodgson is Neil Mackenzie, and the crowd shouts down here as Russell has gone through.
This is what we need for the championship. If you're a Foggy fan, you want to see John Kaczynski being put down the field. But John will know exactly what he's doing. He's such a calculating racer. He'll be doing the sums. He knows what he needs to do. He knows he doesn't really have to win. And Mackenzie is right with him.
Mackenzie's there. Here he is, Neil Mackenzie. Well, he's like a fine wine, for want of a cliche. He's getting better and better with age, and better as this race goes on. Finding the limits of that Cadbury's Boost Yamaha. What a great ride. Of course, some people could have been put off. Chris Walker, his teammate in the Cadbury's Boost Yamaha team, has gone as teammate of Scott Russell on the Works Yamaha here this weekend. But Chris Walker really has been overshadowed by Neil Mackenzie, who seems to move up a gear and back into his old form of being a great World Championship runner.
Well, it explains, doesn't it, why he's doing doubles at British Championship level with seeming ease. He's on such good form.
I've always thought that Neil Mackenzie could get his sandwich out of his briefcase at lunchtime in the old British Championships and go at the speed he goes at all day long, every single day. You never get the impression he's working very hard. He always says he is, but of course he would, wouldn't he?
He's got people like John Reynolds and Terry Rymer to beat. That ain't easy.
Times. Just look at the times. 1:26.581 was his last lap time. The previous 5 laps, he's all in the 1:26s, or at least 3 of them are.
And he looks so smooth.
He does look smooth. Hodgson is going to get it this time because Hodgson now on clear ways. But look at that Yamaha of Mackenzie. That is unbelievable. It's fast. He's going up the inside of Hodgson and does it with ease. The crowd are on their feet down here. What a ride from Neil Mackenzie. Kaczynski is next. The Scot is coming.
Wonderful stuff. We couldn't have expected this from Neil. It's remarkable. Keith, back in the late 80s, I wrote something I'm deeply ashamed of, saying Neil Mackenzie was past his sell-by
Yes,
days.
and he's been reminding you of it ever since.
Every time he gets on
And of
the
course, you deserved everything you get, and it's nice that you are wrong occasionally. There's your race leader.
I will eat those words in public. I will get the cutting and eat them.
The frightening thing about... Well, you eat everything else, Julian.
Thank
so
you.
might go for that as well. Maybe I'll have to get my leathers out now or something, because if Mackenzie can do it, perhaps. No, dream on, Ewan.
Yeah, no. I've
Watching
got the record books here, Keith. I don't think so.
Watching the race, it is Mackenzie underneath Hodgson at paddock. Neil Mackenzie superbly sliding through into 4th place. Hodgson goes back to 5th.
Can I point out, Sean Emmett still in 8th place in front of Jim Whittam, Pierre-Giorgio Bontempi and Mike Hale. That is a great ride from Sean.
Yeah, good scalps as well, but this is the battle for second place. At the moment, Scott Russell has it on bike 22. Behind him, John Kaczynski on bike number 3. But the man who is charging is Neil Mackenzie on bike number 41. Well, what a wild card entry he is for this race, and doing it on his own British Championship bike. Well, this obviously proved just what the British Championship contenders always knew. Neil Mackenzie is very fast.
I think John Reynolds was intimating that to you earlier, wasn't he? And certainly, like, when I was talking to Terry Rymer the other week, he had similar things to say, most of which I can't repeat.
Look at Mackenzie on Kaczynski. This is just beautiful stuff to be watching. Great racing here from these men. Really, really superb stuff. Hodgson is going to lose out in a moment. Oh, and I think Neil's building for this. Mackenzie gets another fastest lap, 1:26.525. We're looking at the man that holds that fastest lap. Up onto the left-hander now. Out onto the back straight. This is where the Honda is very, very fast. Let's see how the Yamaha behind him compares.
I think he's got to get in the slipstream. He's a long way back, though. And, of course, that is a new lap record, because Kaczynski's lap record from last year, set on a Ducati, has been shattered because of this resurfaced, bump-free Brands Hatch.
I think there you saw, though, that... Anton Grushka right in the way here. This could be a major problem for Russell, and he's smoking as well. Anton Grushka has got a smoky bike. Get out of here, will you? So, hopefully that's not leaking any oil, but it's definitely smoking. Hodgson's next up behind Grushka. Here he goes, number 9. Then it's Akira Yanagawa. Then it's number 2, who was
Aaron Slight.
Deary me, Aaron Slight right out of it.
Now we should get... No, it's the next man to that was Sean Emmett. Here's the leader.
It is Pier Francesco Gili looking back down the track. On to Clearways. Looking back now, number 15. Well,
that's Bontempi.
It is an incredible ride that he had in qualifying. Pierre-Giorgio Bontempi looking down the list. He's in 10th place at the moment. We're on board with Jamie Whittam looking back at him. The crowd are going mad out the front here. Absolutely going nuts. So, whatever's happening, I can't see it, but certainly they are on their feet in front of us.
I think it's the Chris Walker fan club. He's up to 12. And Jim Whittam's up to 8. That's what it was. It's Jim Whittam up to 8.
There's Mackenzie in front of Kaczynski and after Scott Russell. So it was Mackenzie going through on Scott Russell that did it. Here he is.
Right.
It is Mackenzie past Kaczynski. Scott Russell is next. This is the battle for second place in the World Superbike Championship race here at Brands Hatch. Mackenzie qualified in 4th. We were surprised. He wasn't, and it's justified. You can see it.
Hey, and you British Championship blokes have got to face him next weekend at Knock Hill on his home ground. Tough luck, chaps.
Yeah, that's a bit of a difference from Brands Hatch and here and Knock Hill later. But anyway, Mackenzie will relish it anyhow. Through Dingledell. Scott Russell second place. Oh, look how good Mackenzie is through there. Really very, very smooth. The bike works for him so very well. The Scotsman is absolutely superb. Another hand signal from the back marker to let the boys through. He was aware they were there. Kaczynski's still hanging in what? 4th place now.
Oh dear, I'm having trouble with the old heart rate here, Keith. I really
It's called Breathless at Brands, and the crowd are going bananas. Mackenzie in 3rd. There they are at the top of Paddock Hill Bend. Brilliant stuff indeed. We have less than 5 laps to go now. Sean Emmett, I can tell you, sadly has retired. He is in pit lane. Sean Emmett is out of this race, but the big news is, with Carl Fogarty watching from the sidelines after a crash early stages of this race, we now have a new hero. There's Emmett. We now have a new hero. It is Neil Mackenzie challenging for second place in the race.
Poor old Sean, he had such a good ride there. He was looking at some good World Championship points. Better luck next weekend at Knock Hill and next time out. Keeley leading by 3 3/4 seconds.
Yeah, but look at Kaczynski. Kaczynski's Honda was really fast down this straight. Really, really quick. But you need... That Honda is it's like a bullet, isn't it?
It is, but Mackenzie is decisive, and he's using less road. He's so smooth, as we saw at Dingledell graphically. Scott Russell bouncing off the curves, getting all sorts of shapes. Neil through there, smooth on rails. Absolutely, the package, the bike, the suspension, the team is working so well. You always need the complete package, and I think Neil has got it.
Well, his bike on the speed track was 6 kilometres an hour slower than Mackenzie, slower than Kaczynski, I should say. So Mackenzie's bike a little slower than the Honda in a straight line, and it shows, but bit of tyre problems from the Honda, having difficulty putting all that power down on the road, it would seem, because Kaczynski there with the rear end letting go, and that could mean that Mackenzie will be let go. We'll see. Still this man, number 7. Yeah, Francesco Chili leading the race.
What a stylish boy he is, eh?
Yes, he was in qualifying as well. He looked brilliant in qualifying, left it to the late stages, snatched pole from Carl Fogarty in qualifying. And here we can see just how dominant those times put him up onto the back straight now. We wait to see who's in second place still. It is Russell, but look at Mackenzie right there in his slipstream. Whether he's got the horsepower down this back straight, their engines are very, very similar, of course, but Scott Russell is on the full works Yamaha. Neil Mackenzie is on the one that's, well, maybe a few months out of date.
Yep, I think that's very well put, Keith. And look at Neil Mackenzie. He's with two ex-world champions there, a Superbike world champion, a Grand Prix world champion. Can you pick the odd one out, the bloke without a world championship? I can't. Look at that.
I can pick the one that should have had a world championship at some stage. Neil Mackenzie.
Seconded.
Well, 36 years old he may be, but it doesn't show.
He's starting to lie, actually, back his age. He's revising it upwards, actually, to hack off British Championship lads even more.
There's James Whittam. Out the bottom of Dingledell, up to that frightening place, through what should be a chicane, but it's all one bend, really. And then on the brakes into the left-hander, and the blast down to Clearway's corner now. Looks very, very smooth. The Suzuki's very quick.
Quickest through the speed traps yesterday.
Absolutely, it was. So
but as Jim always says, the corners get in the way.
Not worried about horsepower in the Suzuki camp, a bit more about how to put it down on the ground. And Clearway's there where we just wobbled our way through. Very difficult place to put it down. Little dip in the middle. Mackenzie back in third place still, looking for a way past Russell. Russell coming up to the back markers now. This, I remind you, is the battle for second place. We have less than 3 laps to go in this race.
I don't think Scott Russell wants to be the second Yamaha home in this race, does he?
No, but watch Kaczynski. Kaczynski's right there with Mackenzie. Surely there's going to be a pass on down this back straight now because Kaczynski pulls out the slip, it goes through, but Mackenzie's good on the brakes. But just look at this, the Honda. Whoa, I thought he was going to do the double then and go past both Yamahas. Made it past Mackenzie, not quite on Russell. Kaczynski tactically working out what's going on around him. He knows how long he's got left. 2.5 laps for Kaczynski to close on Scott Russell and make a meal of this and go through to second place and gain those extra 4 points that will give him.
And he's going to go to the top of the World Championship anyway, of course, Keith. And John will be knowing exactly how he stands, what sort of risk he thinks is worth taking to gain those extra points. And here we go again. Look at this Honda.
Yeah, I mean, he lined himself up on that left-hander onto the back straight. We saw it coming. And of course we knew that his Honda was faster than Neil Mackenzie's Yamaha, and Neil a little slack getting onto that back straight I think then, but it ain't over till it's over.
Did I see Neil's Yamaha starting to have trouble putting the power down there as well, a bit bouncy coming out of Clearways?
I think everyone will do at that particular point because it's flat out, and it makes a big difference if you're losing a bit of grip as Mackenzie. No, I don't think that was on. So here is your race leader. It is Pier Francesco Chili. And his last lap, a 1:26.894. He's just been banging away in the 1:26s throughout this. Look at the lead that he's got all the way along bottom bend at the back of the paddock here. Then it's Scott Russell. Then it's number 3, John Kaczynski. And in 4th place, number 41, Neil Mackenzie. Just can he pinch it for this rostrum?
Right, Keith. We know the bike's slower than the Honda. We know Neil's bike is. Can he get him? Can he take that place off him?
Can I reserve that to the last lap? Because it looks to me at the moment like Neil's taking a bit of a breather. Certainly we've seen where Neil is quicker. When it comes to a series of corners, look at this, he's right there. He's running right out onto the white lines. But when it comes to horsepower, the Honda has it. But here we drop down Dingledell now. This is where Mackenzie is quick. And at the top here, he is superb. Has he gone through? No. But this part here, Mackenzie runs in here so beautifully.
Did I see a rehearsal there?
I think so. Yeah, not a bad shout. I'll go for that.
I'll go with that.
Coming round to start, what, the last lap? Here we come into Clearways for the penultimate time. It's got 1 lap on the board in front of us. Keeley goes through, 1 lap to go. Here, Francesco Chili is a short distance away from taking a race win here at Brands Hatch.
And it'll be a very, very popular race win.
Well, not as popular as Neil Mackenzie getting on the podium. Here's Mackenzie through it. Oh! Yes! That's it, Neil. When you need to force it to fit, make it fit. The crowd have just seen him, and they are going bonkers in front of our commentary position. Well, he might not be off for second place with Scott Russell, I think that's safe, but Mackenzie battling his way through there on Kaczynski was superb. He knew he had to do it where the Yamaha was best, forced his way under Kaczynski.
Whoa.
Hopefully that has given Kaczynski a warning, which means mess with me on the last lap, and it could cost you the lead in the
He's
World
still
Championship.
behind him on the far section.
Yeah.
Neil is still third.
Neil will do it easily now, I think, because he will do, because he's come through that part where the Honda is quickest. Neil, from this part onwards, is better than John Kaczynski, in my view. Down the bottom of Ingledale here, and up the rise at the top here. There's no one to touch Neil Mackenzie through this part of the track. Look, he's closed in on Scott Russell just there. The run now is down after this left-hander to the line, and Neil Mackenzie, barring a mistake, and I don't expect him to make one at his age, he is going to be in third place. Here's Pier Francesco Keeley coming to the line to take the checkered flag. He's got time to wave. All eyes are on him as he comes to the line, but we look back down the track as Keeley takes a checkered flag to the Scotsman, coming through in third place. He takes third. What a great ride for Neil Mackenzie. Sadness for Carl Fogarty, sitting and watching on the sidelines.
But he should buy that man a drink.
But Neil Mackenzie has saved points from the loss that Carl Fogarty has suffered by crashing. We look down the track to see the left, and who's coming over the line? It's dear me.
Whittam and Bontempi together.
Did you see the drive Whittam was getting then?
And he beat Bontempi to the line for 8th place. That Suzuki was flying down there.
Was absolutely. It looked like it was something. Yeah, maybe it's a 1000cc bike. Anyway, and there it is. Keeley and Scott Russell celebrate. Keeley the winner, Scott Russell confirmed second, Neil Mackenzie third, Kaczynski fourth, Neil Hodgson stayed on for fifth place.
Good boy.
Akira Yanagawa was forced back into sixth by Hodgson. Aaron Slight was down in seventh, just in front of James Whittam. Pier Giorgio Bontempi ninth, Mike Hale in 10th, Chris Walker, well, a lowly 11th for him. Mike Rudder behind him in 12th. There's Neil Mackenzie celebrating. Looked like a jumbo landing, didn't it there? Big smoke off the front wheel as he landed that Yamaha. Well, the Cadbury's Boost team, they've had a great couple of years anyway. And now Mackenzie, the icing on the cake here at Brands Hatch, coming through from behind. First of all, he got a quick start. Very unusual and uncharacteristic for Neil Mackenzie. Got a quick start. Found himself in a place he's not used to being at the beginning of the race, and we can look down the confirmed positions. Keeley, Russell, Mackenzie, that's your podium. Kaczynski, Hodgson, Yanagawa and Slight in 5th, 6th and 7th. James Whittam in 8th, and Pier Giorgio Bontempi in 9th on the Kawasaki. He's been getting better and better this year so far. Looking down, Hale, Walker in 11th, Mike Rutter in 12th, Ray Stringer, good 13th place from him, Pierre Cabana in 14th place, Brett Sampson in 15th, he gets a point,
good boy.
Sean Giles in 16th, Marks and Cantalupo there in 17th and 18th, and really, well, there were a few a one lap behind, but even Brett Sampson was a lap behind here.
Can I say that the bloke we haven't talked about in that dice was Scott Russell. That's wonderful. Look at the crowd. They've been... There's 80,000 people have seen one of the best races of the year. We didn't talk enough about Scott Russell because he's on his own for much of that. Third row of the grid.
Let's take a look then at the wins. Kaczynski this year has 5 wins now. Carl Fogarty only 2. Aaron Slight in 3. And Keeley there with 3 wins as well. Really does show you just what a great job Neil Mackenzie has managed to do here at Brands Hatch today. There's your race leader, Keeley, coming through, adding to his total. Looking down the track, these are the points, of course. There's Neil Mackenzie in 12th. So 16 points going to Neil Mackenzie, and bumping it up to 33 after Donington earlier on in the year.
Keith, Scott Russell from third row on the grid, a bike that was just not doing anything yesterday and even this morning. That was another fantastic ride, a rostrum full of brilliant rides.
Here comes Pier Francesco Keeley to take the checker flag for the first time here at Brands Hatch. Well, the race was worth waiting for, I'm sure you'll agree. Scott Russell gets the congratulations of Pier Francesco Keeley for second place. And through comes 41, Neil Mackenzie. And, well, we've got 3 very, very popular men on the podium. Here is Neil Mackenzie coming through. There is going to be a cheer here for this boy. Andy Kershaw's there with him.
Neil, congratulations on a superb ride. But isn't it time you started acting your age?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I saw Carl go down. I definitely felt for him because he's in it for the championship. But He went down, gave me a place, so at least the Brits got someone on the roster, and we're really happy about that.
You were 36 when you started that race. How old are you now?
About 45.
Were you down on power a lot on Kaczynski?
Yeah, top speed his bike's a missile, but he was a bit steady in the corners, so I was just banking over and skidding round about him.
You just seemed to barge him out of the way at Paddock Bend when you went through.
Yeah, John Kaczynski, I mean, he's a talented rider and a genius, but none of the riders got any respect for him. He's a little bit silly, says some daft things, so when it comes to passing him, it's not a problem at all.
Well done, man, and there's hardly a drop of sweat on him.
The Union Jack flies high. Neil Mackenzie celebrating, and we've got Jonathan Green now with Scott Russell in pit lane.
Well, Scotty Russell, you've been looking good all weekend. You've been smiling all weekend. That bike was fired up today, wasn't it?
Bike was working really good. We made some changes after practice this morning, and they seemed to work out pretty good. So the Yamaha team did a great job. The Dunlops worked great, and it's about time we're up here. We're getting closer. You know, one more step, I'll be happy.
Julian keeps saying you're on the oldest bike out there, but when you're fired up, that doesn't make any difference. Can you go one better, do you think?
I think we can. I think we can run with Kelly if we just get clear. You know, I had a lot of hard work to get around Kaczynski and then Hodgson, so you know, if I can get out the line a little bit better, I think we can win one.
We'll see you in race 2. Thanks, Scott Russell.
We've got no doubts back here in the commentary box, that's for certain. So we're looking for Pier Francesco Chili, and we just love his smile.
And when I pass, I try to go, and it's okay.
Once you got by Kaczynski, it was easy.
Yeah, because John have a very good power. They have a fucking fast in power, but we beat in the corner.
Well done, Frankie.
Yeah, Francesco Chili then goes to the podium. A great win from him. We wait for the celebrations.
I'm just getting my breath back from that whole race, Keith. That was one of the best races I've seen for ages. And the cheer.
Second place from America, Scott Russell. And the man who made a solo demonstration run, he was perfect. Yeah, Francesco Chili. Third place presentation to Neil Mackenzie. The second place presentation going to Scott Russell, and a smile on the face of Scott. He's deserved it. He rode so well. It was so deceptive that quick position. Scott Russell. Perfection in anybody's language deserves appreciation. This was perfection for the Italian, Pier Francesco Chili. And if I could, ladies and gentlemen, please ask for your respect for the winner's national anthem.
Well, that's the third win this year for Pier Francesco Chili. There could have been a more popular win, I think, but only one or two here. And we've got another race to come. And ladies, Frankie said he'd take a lot more off if he won the second race. So I advise you to be with us this afternoon. But as we look at the Manufacturers' Championship with Honda being closed in on by Ducati, that's one the factories mind about nearly as much as the Riders' Championship. We'll keep you up to date with all of that when we come back after this short break with Keith Ewan in the studio for some analysis.
Welcome back live to us at Brands Hatch. It was a superb race and one worth waiting for here at Brands Hatch. So 25 laps then of mayhem. But I think, first of all, we've got to go straight to our guests here and get on with some analysis. Keith Code from the California Superbike School, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
You've been through quite a few gentlemen, haven't you, through your school over the time? Very famous people, famous names that we all heard about, and we know very little about you. How did you keep yourself such a secret?
We've been coming over to England for the last 2 years, putting on some of the California Superbike School sessions. We just finished 3 days up at Cadwell. We did a day here at Brands last year, and we fully expect to come back next year and train up some of the British riders, although you're doing really well.
Without you?
Without me.
But there might be some tips that we can pick up as well. Wayne Rainey was one of your big talents as well, wasn't he? He actually came to you as well.
Yeah, Wayne and I worked with Wayne for about the first year and a half of his road racing career. And Scott Russell and a little bit with John Kaczynski as well. And I saw Scott this morning, and he was having some problems with the bike, but it looks like he got them sorted out to his satisfaction. It doesn't look like John got his situation sorted out quite as well, but I'd say the big disappointment of the day for the British fans is Carl Fogarty.
Well, you linked me very neatly. In fact, you could probably take this job if you sat here as well. I mean, Carl Fogarty we do need to talk about. Maybe we can take a look at it now on the... and you can tell us what he did wrong, because I'd rather you told us than me.
Well, it looked like he just actually got in the gas a little bit too hard there, and when it hooked up, probably backed off the gas just slightly. I was really happy to see that he didn't get hit. He was definitely trying to move up into the next position, and why he was trying so hard right there in the early stages of the race, I couldn't really tell you.
Well, John Reynolds is still here in the studio with us at the moment. John, from a rider's point of view, rather than an instructor's point of view, what did it look like?
Oh, it's an horrible feeling. Yeah, I mean, he's just basically getting on the gas early out the corner just to try and get in front of, who was it, Kaczynski in front? But as I say, he just loses the back end, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
No.
Totally committed, and basically you just have to try and keep out of the way of people.
The only smart move at that point would be to keep the gas on and hope for a low side, and which saves you sometimes a number of broken bones. But Foggy seems to be extremely resilient. I saw him at Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago. He came off in the qualifying session, and he bounced back up, and with a determined look went right through the gate, right into the paddock, got another bike, and went right back out again. So he's definitely one of my heroes.
Well, Neil Hodgson was... let's have a look what we got going on here. We've got the boys having a run round. Here it is, Pier Francesco Chili. The spoils of victory are his at this point. Celebrations, Scott Russell there as well, and Neil Mackenzie also at the back. And the crowd here very appreciative indeed of what's going on at Brands Hatch. Now, Pier Francesco Chili, he looked as if he was making it very, very easy around this track. When he passed Neil Hodgson...
Absolutely. He got Kaczynski in Kaczynski's least favorite part of the course. Here he is going by.
Taking a look at Neil Hodgson. Hodgson got off to a flyer and really did... I mean, Hodgson made it look very simple at the beginning of the race, didn't he? And Keeley just homed in on him slowly but surely. And then this manoeuvre, well, on the gas a bit early, it looked to me. Down Dingledale, straight up the other side, and was never to be headed again. What was it you think about Keeley's performance that impressed you so much, Keith?
I was really impressed with his drives off the corners. No matter what type of situation he was in, especially in traffic situations, coming up here through paddock, he never stalled getting back into the gas. I'd say for him, and also coming off of Clearways here, the area that we could see in the Indy circuit, his drives off the corners were absolutely brilliant. His corner entry speed and his mid-turn speed, about the same as the other guys he was riding with. It's about the same as Kaczynski and so on. But his drives off were stunning drives out. I don't know where he got the traction. I don't know where he got the bravery, but he did it every single time, every single turn.
Well, we're back outside of the studio again as the riders, the top three, continue around the track. And we can take a look now at the one that got everybody on their feet when Neil Mackenzie took that position. Just look at this. John Reynolds, you talk us through this one. When it needed muscle, Mackenzie had it.
Yeah, he really meant that one, didn't he? He saw a gap, and I think he thought he could get through, but he wasn't quite too sure. But anyway, he did. Kaczynski had to move out of the way there, but... to
put it mildly.
Interestingly enough, Kaczynski got paid back for Laguna Seca when he did exactly the same thing to Carl Fogarty in turn 2. But I think what we saw right here was an intimate knowledge, a perfect illustration of intimate knowledge of this circuit. And Mackenzie went in where no man... certainly anybody not familiar with this circuit would go.
So Kaczynski given a riding lesson there. Will you be having a word with little John in a while, and if you can get a word in edgeways?
See if we can talk to him maybe. Yeah, I think Russell's performance, certainly, he's very happy to be on the podium.
If you were writing a school report for these three guys, I mean, briefly, what would each one of them be? What would be the headline in your report for each one of these three riders?
I was amazed at in the top 5 runners how different everybody's approach was to, again, the Indy Circuit section of the course, which I could see easily. There were 5 different lines, actually, in the top 10 different lines through the corners. And again, Keely's brilliance today was with his drives off the corners. Scott Russell was running a kind of a sort of a mild, almost a safe line through the turns. He was having trouble with his suspension earlier today. He was having difficulty getting that sorted out. His mechanics, I don't know, I'm not sure whether they were just helping to sort of psych him up a little bit. It said that they had it fixed, but with suspensions you never actually know. So, but it gave him enough confidence to run up front, which was really very, very good.
Well, I had a sponsor once that used to say to me that before you tune the bike, tune the rider, because it's a lot cheaper. So maybe that's a policy that we've all worked on at some stage or two. Well, we've got 2 more great races to come while the boys are still on this long celebration lap. They're into a chat now. 2 more great races to come. The Supersport World Series race. There's a lot of British interest in that. And of course, race 2 of the World Superbikes with Carl Fogarty back on board and angrier than ever. Don't go away.
Oh,
dear me.
Whittam and Bontempi together.
You see the drive Whittam was getting then.
And he beat Bontempi.
There it is then, Carl Fogarty, part 2. This is the start of the second race. They're on the grid now. We'll soon be on our warm-up lap. Carl Fogarty has to make amends. Wife Michaela looking very tentative there beside him. We're going to take a short break. Join us for race 2 in just a few moments. Just minutes away from the start of the warm-up lap for race 2, and drama already down. You can see the front wheel stand going into Carl Fogarty's, or coming out of Carl Fogarty's bike there, but it is just spitting with rain here and there around this track. Drama then for the start of race 2. Neil Hodgson, well, it cost him dearly in Hockenheim when it rained on the last lap there. He was leading right up to that point, and he's still looking for a win here if he can. So the bikes are being started down on the grid for the warm-up lap of race 2 here at Brands Hatch. Anxious moments before the start. There are the clouds. They're blowing in. Here's the grid. Pier Francesco Keely on pole. Carl Fogarty second on the grid. Neil Hodgson third. The magnificent Neil Mackenzie in 4th place on the grid at the moment. Row 2, Crafar from Yanagawa, the teammates. John Kaczynski and Pier Giorgio Bontempi in 8th. Row 3, Aaron Slight, James Whittam, Scott Russell and Sean Emmett. He's having a good weekend so far, except it was ruined in race 1 when he had to pull in the pits. Row 4, Chris Walker, Mike Hale, Stevie Hislop and Michael Rutter. Lots of good British interest on row 4. Row 5, James Hayden, Ray Stringer, Igor German and Pierre Riba Cabana on row 5. We're about to get underway for the warm-up lap. Brett Sampson, Sean Giles, Marks and Cantalupo round off row 6. They're on their warm-up lap. With the riders on the warm-up lap, the crowd are on their toes and waiting to see whether Carl Fogarty can pick up the pieces here at Brands Hatch after that crash in race 1. Well, we can go down to the pit lane now. Susie Perry has caught up with Carl's wife, Michaela, and what's she feeling at the moment, Susie?
Thanks, Keith. Well, Michaela, very, very disappointing for the first race. How's Carl feeling now?
Just a bit. I think it's pride more than anything, you know. He just wanted to win for everybody here today, and really in those situations you've not got anybody else to blame apart from yourself, so, you know, he's just hoping he can come back and make amends in the second race.
Is he motivated enough to win, do you think?
Oh, definitely motivated enough, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michaela. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Back to you, Keith.
Thanks, Susie. Thanks, Michaela. Well, tense faces down there, and they might well be as we come round on the warm-up lap. Neil McKenzie back out there, getting pictures from Simon Crafar. Simon Crafar, of course, back on the Kawasaki after that. Well, he got thrown off by Carl Fogarty's crash out of Druids Bends. Julian Ryder, if you're sitting there, pick up commentary. I'll be with you in a couple of seconds.
I'm sure you will, Keith. We're on board with Simon Crafar, a really unhappy man after race 1, of course, and naturally he thought he was on for a rostrum at least, and he is so determined this weekend. Do not discount this man, the strangely quiet at times Kiwi. He is out to win. He knows it's difficult because he reckons it's Ducati territory, but look what those Yamaha boys did in the first race. It was astounding. You could not have predicted that. There he is, number 6, Simon Crafar. Foggy in the left corner, front corner of your picture. Desperate. So he's always desperate to win for his fans. He had a conversion years ago, as it was, and he realised he wasn't just racing for himself, but there were thousands of people out there who wanted him to win as well. And Carl, well, the pressure is on. The damage not too bad in terms of the championship. 9 points, the gap between Kaczynski at the front and Fogarty. Now it's spitting with rain, but it ain't too bad.
Here we go, Julian. So we've got 25 laps to go, and they're away. Who's it going to be? Oh, Fogarty doesn't get a flyer, but Hodgson does. Hodgson was quick. Where is McKenzie? So we've got a crash on the start line here as well. There's a crash on the start line, Julian. The flags are down. Who is that? That looks a bit James Hayden-ish to me. Hodgson leads. Kawasaki round the outside of Crafar, Fogarty on the inside. Whoa, he won't want to be doing so. It's actually Keeley that's there as well. While we sort ourselves out, well, it's straight into top gear here in the commentary box. That is for sure. Oh, that's so close. That was Crafar in all sorts of trouble there.
Fighting mad, Simon Crafar. He is so desperate to win a race.
We're on board with him, and he's after them. He wants this place. He's chasing Keeley, he's chasing Hodgson, and Fogarty is chasing him. The top four. Here comes Fogarty. Fogarty up inside of Crafar into Hawthorne, and does he get it? Well, you were right. He wants blood. Crafar really is on the pace, and this is only the opening lap. 24 3/4 still to go.
And behind him, it's McKenzie again in 5th place. Neil, another good start. He's 5th. He is astounding.
This is going to be a little bit scary, I've got the feeling, because this has started up with aggression like I've not seen for some time. Whittam there in 5th. Whittam was in 5th place. Whoa, that's good for him. Fogarty looking at the inside of Crafar again, but leading is, well, Neil Hodgson just from Keeley, from Crafar, from Fogarty. We're on board with Whittam. Here he is. Whittam looking at Fogarty. Fogarty's in 4th place. Whittam is in 5th place. We come to the Clearways corner for the first time. The crowd are on their feet and they're roaring as over the line comes Keeley and Hodgson. Who's going to be first? It's going to be Keeley. Hodgson is in 2nd place. Crafar 3rd. Fogarty 4th. Whittam 5th. What an opening lap.
And look, there's the B&M leathers of Michael Rutter up in the top half dozen there. That start line incident must have held up Kaczynski and Slight, because the Hondas are nowhere, Keith. Can we see them on the monitor? Slight in 10th, Kaczynski in 8th.
Well, it was a slowish opening lap, 132.6 compared with what they were doing earlier on today. We are riding with the Kawasaki, and it is riding up the inside of Hodgson. Well, Simon Crafar has grown horns. The New Zealander is no sheep.
He was intense last night when I was talking to him about his need to win and win soon. And after that first race punt off from Foggy, I hate to think what his state of mind is, but the evidence is there. The red mist is down over Simon Crafar's
Here we go.
visor.
Let's look at Crafar up the inside, grabbing a couple of gears down through the box as they come into that turn. And Crafar forcing his way through there at Surtees. Back with them, Dingledell. At the top of Dingledell, Keeley, Crafar, Hodgson, Fogarty, Whittam.
Ray.
Whittam on bike number 12. Well, I expect... Crayfar's through. Crayfar went straight through on Keeley. Brilliant manoeuvre. He really is at it. But look at Keeley round the outside. Oh, wow. This is a second lap. I can't believe this. It's like 1-2-5 racing.
Yeah, but Simon Crayfar, it's going to be win or bust, Keith. He's not interested in seconds or thirds anymore. The boy wants wins.
Look at the flash cameras down through the crowd. They're flashing away at him. They don't want to miss a bit of this, do they? They want it for posterity, that's for certain. Crayfar's in second place. Keeley leads. Fogarty is in third place now. Hodgson has dropped to fourth place. We can take another look at it. Unbelievable stuff. Here it is. That was superb as he went through as they came to Sterling's corner. Crayfar led, but not for very long.
And now
Keeley, Crayfar, Foggy, Hodgson and Whittam.
Isn't it great to hear the name Whittam in that company again? Look at Crayfar. He is demonic at the moment. I don't want to be in the way of that guy. I really don't. If anybody can fight him off, it's Frankie.
Mackenzie in sixth place. We can't see him because this lot have pulled away a little bit. Oh, here comes Foggy. Foggy goes through on Crayfar. Crayfar's Kawasaki is slower than Fogarty's Ducati. That's for sure. That'll make him feel even worse. Yes. Now then, Fogarty, hopefully Crayfar will be thinking that Carl won't jump off in front of me this time round. Look at the water up the screen, you can see it there, rain on Crayfar's screen. This is really going to affect the proceedings. We're looking out of our monitor here, and it looks okay where we are in pit lane, but certainly you can see water there on the screen of Simon Crayfar. That will really put the riders off. Here's Whittam. Let's have a look at his screens. Dry just here as they come under the bridge to where we are, of course. They're coming into clearways. Our commentary position is a little further along there on the left, and we can see that it's dry outside, but for how long? Keeley, Fogarty, Crayfar, Julian.
Thank you. Kaczynski in slight 7th and 8th last time round. Scott Russell 9th. So the Honda's not figuring at the moment. Looking at the change of laps, Kaczynski goes up, we think. We'll bring that to you in a minute as the fight goes to Druids. We're on board with Simon Crayfar.
Oh, Foggy sat up then. Foggy sat up then in front, and that was the place where he crashed in front of Crayfar last time. Whoa, this is scary stuff indeed, and it is still dribbling with rain here. Crayfar we're on board with. Fogarty's in front of him. Carl Fogarty has it all to do at this moment in time. Up onto the back straight. Keeley, Fogarty, Crayfar now easing away from Neil Hodgson in 4th place. 5th is still Jamie Whittam. 6th is still Neil Mackenzie. No, in fact, it's Slight that's moved in front of Mackenzie.
Kaczynski, I believe, Keith, last time round over the start line. The two Hondas are together in 6th and 7th, though, that we can tell you. Here's Foggy Sitter.
Oh, there it was, in exactly the same place as he lost it last time round. Well, he's got that bike geared real hot for that turn.
I wonder what Simon Crayfar thought there.
Probably the same thing as Carl Fogarty did. Deja vu. Right, run down the clearways now. It seems to have cleared whatever the rain was. We are not getting spots on the visor anymore. We're on board with Crayfar. He's in 3rd place. There he is on bike 6. Still in 5th place is number 12, James Whittam, but leading is Keeley. Fastest lap to Fogarty. There you go, 1:26.9. Little way to go yet.
Oh dear, this is going to be a tense one. This really is. These two guys had dinner together last night.
Keeley
like
on the
old
move.
friends.
Keeley on the move. Keeley certainly looking unhappy just there. 21 laps to go then.
Oh, Carl!
Keeley gets the fastest lap as he came across the line. That's more like it. 1:26.573. Keeley, Fogarty, Crayfar, Hodgson, and then Whittam. Come on, you Brits.
Oh, this is stunning stuff. I tell you, that green thing in 3rd place.
It's Foggy looking at the inside there on Keeley. You're going to get some words in eventually, Julian.
Even if I have to beat you with a water bottle, Keith, I will. This is a stunner. Nearly as good as the first race. It can only get better. Where are those Hondas? 6th and 7th at the moment. Scott Russell 8th. They've moved up at the expense of Mackenzie.
Water again then, Julian, on Crayfar's screen. So really, it's just splashing gently round the back. Nothing to worry, these tyres. They've got plenty of heat in them, of course, and if they're not going to shift water, they're going to grip pretty well. But you won't want to be out on the curbs if it's getting a bit damp.
On board with Crayfar, Jim Whittam still in 5th place, a couple of seconds plus in front of the next man, who is John Kaczynski. So that's good news all round for the championship challenge of Carl Fogarty.
Dropping down towards clearways now, and everyone checking out over their shoulders. Keeley from Fogarty. Fogarty now homing in on Keeley. Foggy has got to win this. 25 points for a win, 20 for 2nd place, 16 for 3rd. Fogarty with the Honda men a long way behind. Well, it's going to be a real mathematical equation. He's got to win this race, though. He really has, after dumping, well, what could have been 25 points in race 1.
It certainly would have been a good hatful of points.
Squandered opportunity, definitely.
Definitely, Keith. And as Mikhail has said, there's no one to blame but himself. It was a rider error.
Yeah, it doesn't help, though, does it? Pierre Francesco Keeley, fastest lap, 1:26.558. He leads the race on bike 7. Second is Carl Fogarty on 4. And still Crafar in 3rd place on the Kawasaki, seemingly with no answer to the 2 Dukes in front of him. But behind him is still Hodgson as well on bike number 9. He'd be quite happy, I think, with the 4th place.
I think Simon Crafar, though, is only interested in a win. I really think he will banzai it.
Hodgson fastest lap, so Hodgson goes fastest. He's 4th at the moment on bike number 9. Fogarty looking at the inside again of Keeley. Keeley riding very, very economically, despite the fact he's in front. Yes. I know it's a contradiction of terms, but he looked really smooth. There's Hodgson. He's the fastest man on the track so far.
And it's good to see, having been disposed a couple of races down the field, he's fighting back, because sometimes we worry about Neil, whether he will get stuck in, but he's been riding brilliantly since he came back from that really nasty knee injury.
Oh, Crafar splitting the Dukes at the minute. He's got to do some work because Hodgson's on the charge. Whittam is being Mackenzie's in the pits. Neil Mackenzie, well, the hero of race 1, is in pit lane on the Cadbury's Boost Yamaha, has a problem with the bike, so that's the end of Neil Mackenzie's challenge for today. Wife Jan in the background, and he's out of the race. But taking up where Mackenzie left off after race 1 is our hero, Carl Fogarty, 2nd place at the moment on bike 4. This is the 3rd place man, Crafar. Whoa! Down went Fogarty! Or was it? That's Keeley. That's Keeley. Keeley went down. Foggy must have got in front of him. So that's Keeley down. Fogarty leads. Crafar's in 2nd place.
Oh dear.
Now then, was that because we got some water there or what? Because he certainly went to the back. He pointed at the back of his bike then. That looked to me, well, Fogarty must have passed Keeley coming up to that turn, because it certainly was the 2nd place man that fell down then.
Weren't we getting water out of a bike?
We'll have to wait and find out. Let's take another look. Yes, of course. Oh, dear me. Foggy forced his way under Keeley. And Keeley, well, that's why we thought it was Foggy, because it was the 2nd place man who fell. And Foggy held his hand up there to say sorry, almost. Well, in fact, sorry, definitely, I think.
Yeah, well, they did have dinner together last night. Whether they will tonight, I don't know.
This is indicative to me of a man desperate to do well at his home meeting. And Carl Fogarty really is very, very forceful out on the track. I mean, he committed himself to that inside line on Keeley and took him, but it was very forceful. 26.504, Carl Fogarty the fastest lap now. Crafar in 2nd place. 3rd place, Neil Hodgson.
Good ride, Neil. He's really sticking in there. That's good stuff to see.
Well, the crowd love it along the front here, but I don't think they realise why he's gone in front. And I think that we'll all be a bit sorry for Pier Francesco Keeley, including Carl Fogarty. So he comes to that point where he snatched the lead from Keeley and where Keeley went down on the track. Foggy won't be happy about that.
No.
Not having a good day, Carl, despite the fact he's in front.
It's a real fraught weekend, this, for Carl Fogarty. Where are the Hondas, I ask myself? Slight is in 7th, Kaczynski is up to 4th. So the little John is again making a really good fist of the cards he's been played today.
But it's Foggy with the 25 points at this point in the race. Emmett and Hislop, 13th and 14th. But Carl Fogarty leading this race and looking like he's pulling away now from Simon Crafar. Let's hope Fogarty can settle down and just bank these 25 points.
Well, Simon Crafar has the sort of the image of an avenging angel at the moment at this race meeting. He is the guy who is so quiet and pleasant when you're talking about normal things, but put him on a motorbike, and dear me, and the look in his eyes, the intensity of his feelings last night when he was telling me just how badly he needed a win, and how badly he wanted a win, and how fed up he was with 2nd and 3rd places was awesome to behold. You've got to be Carl Fogarty on his best form to beat him, I promise you that.
Well, it's all in Simon Crafar's hands. Only he can do it, that's for certain. His Kawasaki looked to me a little slower than the Ducati, though, around this track, so I would suggest that with Carl Fogarty on the kind of form he is, and at the home track, barring another mistake like race 1, Fogarty should, and I mean should, take this race. It's early days yet, though. Still 17 laps left to go in this race. It's very, very dull around Brands Hatch at the moment. The clouds have come in above our heads. Crafar not giving up. There's another fastest lap to Carl Fogarty. Oh, Carl! Do not do that to me again. Out of that Druids corner. Well, it's all happening at Druids, isn't it? Because that's where he lost it in race 1. That's where he bashed Keeley out the way in race 2. He's already had one slide there coming out of the turn here. And now, that was a big one.
And I wonder what he's thinking. And Simon Crafar has closed the gap a third of a second last time round. Foggy is down in the 26s, all bar last but one
But it's
lap.
no surprise that Crafar's close, is it, when Carl's sideways? I mean, at the end of the day, Crafar's riding smoothly, and Carl is struggling. There's no doubt that Carl is struggling here.
He's really out of shape, even when we saw him in the first couple of laps of the first leg. Going into Druid, who was bouncing about, sliding, coming out. The guy, is he feeling the pressure? Is the double world champ feeling the pressure of the home round? Well, it's the explanation I've got.
I would say almost certainly an oil flag was out there, so a slippery substance flag was out. I saw it being held statically. That means that the track has got something on it that's a bit slippy. Let's take a look at Carl Fogarty sideways again. There it is, same place, Druid's corner. Well, race one, he ended up picking it out of the dirt. Race two, he hung onto it. Now, up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Into Paddock Hill Bend. Through this right-hander. This is a great corner as well.
And the gap went down by 0.2 of a second between Carl and Simon Crafar, and we have a real race on our hands now.
It's a great race. Up to Druids. This is Carl Fogarty's folly, I think. And nice and easy, Carl, out of there. A bit wider than perhaps he'd want to be. Down through bottom bend. Crafar closing in clearly. Carl is very tentative around that section now. And well, he might be on board with Crafar.
I don't think Crafar is going to be a tentative man at all. He is going to... We saw him in the cone a couple of laps, Keith. He had horns on, as you said.
But when it comes to a fight, there's no better man than Carl.
It'll be a good match if it's him and Simon Crafar.
Hodgson's still there. I know who my money's on. Hodgson is still there in third. Crafar a little bit sideways into Hawthorne on the brakes. That might just put him off for a lap or two.
Yes, and the fourth place man, John Kaczynski, is 4.5 seconds behind the third man there, Neil Hodgson. So the Hondas are now in fourth and seventh. Jim Whittam is fifth. Scott Russell has come up to sixth. He has been working hard.
Yeah, disaster though for him after that start compared with his race one ride. Second place in race one for Scott Russell. Crafar, 26, 26, 26, 26 and 26. Crafar all the way through. Still it's spitting with rain. You can see it on the front of his screen there.
So it wasn't out somebody's engine, as I thought maybe early on.
It's spots of rain around this track. It is just spotting all the time. Look at this. Fogarty's put in a fast one. Hodgson goes under Crafar. That is a nice ride, Neil.
Great
Neil
start.
Hodgson back from injury. Disappointed possibly with race one, but race two, he looks on the case. We're up to Druids. Great ride.
Crafar came across the line second, but 0.4 of a second behind Carl Fogarty this time around. Carl Fogarty is piling on the coals. He's accepting the challenge, but every time he comes out of the hairpin at Druids, I have heart failure.
Here we go then. We're on board with Crafar, and there is Neil Hodgson. Up the inside and underneath Simon Crafar. Crafar has two Ducatis to beat now. Teammates Fogarty and Hodgson.
Great ride from Neil. It's so good to see. I mean...
So through goes Fogarty. He's through Hawthorne corner already. Well, if the 80,000 people wonder what they were doing here after race one, I think they know it now. Fogarty in front, Hodgson in second. It's a pity about Neil Mackenzie not being still out there. But it looks to me like British Teamsters, Fogarty and Hodgson have got it covered. Here is Kaczynski. Whittam's there, Jim Whittam. Well, if he manages to get in front of Kaczynski, now it's raining harder. This is Whittam's bike. It's raining harder and harder around the track. There's more and more water. That amount of water is going to affect grip. It's beginning to just dampen the track. Not enough yet to make a big difference, but it really is going to be difficult very, very soon.
I'm looking to see out of our window, and yeah, we now have water on the window of the commentary box, so it's spread into all parts of the track now, this shower.
It's quite hard now. It's going to come down in a moment. I feel it in my bones. James Whittam then is there chasing Kaczynski, but the leader is still Carl Fogarty.
I'll tell you what, Scott Russell's in that group, Keith, and he has made rapid progress through the field.
Well, he's not scared of the wet either. Fogarty and Hodgson. Fogarty and Hodgson. These are your leaders. Crafar's third. This race could well be stopped if it rains hard. And the bigger lead that these two men have over everybody else when it becomes an aggregate tot-up will make all the difference, Julian.
It will, because Simon Crafar's a Dunlop man, and it's well known that the Dunlop wet tyres are not in the same class as the Michelin wet tyres. Back marker in the way now. Oh, he gets the finger.
Later, was that?
It was.
Oh, dear him. Oh, stop
wet.
that race. Too much rain. Has it been stopped? Look for the red flag. Have we got a red? Yes, we have. The red light's on here on the grid. So the race has been stopped because of the rain. That's it. Now then, they will take the time from the previous lap. The distances between the previous, in fact, 2 laps previous, I think, nowadays, Jules, on the stoppages of races.
I think that's the World Championship
So, we have a situation where race 2 has been stopped here because of rain. That will mean that a time will be taken at the end of 2 laps previously to the one that the flag was put out on, and it will mean that that time will be added to the times of the rerun part of race 2, and then we will have a winner possibly.
And we'll have a mathematical nightmare as we're commentating on it. And we had Fogarty, Hodgson, Crafar as our top 3, and the gaps were 0.5 of a second between Hodgson and Crafar. Oh dear, no, the old timing monitor has gone berserk as they reset it. I can't give you the gaps at the moment.
Fogarty straight in pit lane. Slick Bass, well, this is deja vu again, isn't it? It's very, very difficult the whole day. There's Keeley walking back. Well, I wonder if he walks back via Carl Fogarty's pit.
Well, they had dinner together last night,
well,
Keith,
you said
as
that.
chums, I know, and I don't think they will be tonight. It's
I don't think they'll fall out over a racing incident. At the end of the day, they might be slightly miffed for the moment, but Carl knew that he was committed to that inside line when he popped Keeley. There is Carl talking to Anthony Bash. Now we can take a look very soon at that incident at Druids Hill Corner. Here is Keeley to the applause of the British fans. They love Pier Francesco Keeley.
He's not a happy bunny, you can tell from the body language.
And we can take a look now. Carl was committed to coming up the inside of Pier Francesco and then ran in a bit hot wide, Carl did. And really, he was on a mission, but Keeley was just unlucky in my view. I mean, I think when Pier Francesco watches that tape, he'll realise that Carl was committed to it and really had the line at the end of the day. Keeley did have the option of picking it up.
Yes, there might be some discussion.
Before it went in the sandpit.
Yeah, there might be some discussion about that, but I actually think you're right, Keith. They get on too well with each other to fall out over that one.
Can't see a problem. That's Crafar that we were taking a look at the same incident from. There's Keeley walking up to the top of the hill, and of course Brands Hatch is quite a hilly old place at the end of the day. It's quite a long walk from where he crashed.
Long walk back from Druids Corner, back to the safety of his motorhome. When he sees the rain, he might be quite glad he doesn't have to go out. There again, he's won wet races, is that boy?
Hello, everybody getting the umbrellas up now. The coats are coming on here at Brands Hatch. There's a new use for the Union Jacks. It's to try and keep the rain off, and it's coming down quite heavy now. That was a very sharp and very quick decision by the British organisers here. Praise to them indeed. They have averted some major accidents around Brands Hatch by stopping that race in the nick of time, because the weather was closing in. It was definitely getting worse. Although it wasn't dangerous at the time that they stopped it, they did it dead right.
And it's interesting, the riders took the decision out the back of the circuit while it was still dry on the start-finish, and they couldn't do that.
They actually had the light on here. Now then, we've got a 10-minute delay before we know what's going on. And they're going to take it, because there's been no qualifying in wet practice, they now have to take, in 10 minutes' time, a 20-minute wet practice. So they are now going to go round this track and test their bikes for wet weather, because none of these people have had a chance to. Amazing.
Oh.
The rain is coming down. We have another practice session, imminent. And the race is going to start at 4:55. So, 5 to 5. Deary me, it's going to be amazing. Let's take a look at the times then from the first race. If you've got a pen on you there at home, then maybe you'd like to jot these down, because these times will be carried forward to part 2 of race 2. Fogarty then, 172.316, and the differentials of time behind him, nearly half a second behind was Crafar, half a second Hodgson, Kaczynski 5.3, there's the thing to watch.
Definitely.
Kaczynski at 5.3 seconds. And significantly, if Jimmy Whittam can have a real good ride in the wet, he could overhaul Kaczynski easily, because he's only a tenth of a second behind him there, and take that 4th position and a whole load more points off him.
The idea of getting past John Kaczynski in the wet as being easy is not my idea of fun.
It's 3 or 40 altogether.
Right, and who won it?
Yanagawa, Russell was right behind.
Russell,
Yanagawa. Yeah.
Then a gap.
But like you're talking, probably a second or so.
Approximately,
The gap from you to the front is 5 seconds.
And approximately me to Mike.
You to
7 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, a good way. Yeah.
Crafy would have been about
5 seconds back on him.
Yeah. 4 seconds back.
James, there's obviously a lot of confusion. You've had a quick chat. What's the basis of it there, how you see it?
Well, how I see it is they had to stop because it rained for a start. Everybody's on slicks, so that's fair enough. We haven't been out in the wet this week, so they're going to have to give us 15 minutes wet practice. Then we decide what tyres, assemble on the grid and go.
So you had a great start. It's a bit of a difference in the first day, the first race anyway. You had a bad start there. Now you had a good start this one. You were going well, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, I said before the race, if you can get a start, I can hang with him. I won't hang in with the front bunch, but you know, I would have hoped to be hanging at the end somewhere with the bunch I was in. You know, so it's all on a start, and you know that these guys, they're not idiots, and they're not going to wait for you. You know what I mean? And if you can just about keep up with somebody, you're not going to catch him if he's 3 seconds in front off the start, you know.
Well, we will get another chance to see in action. Best of luck in the next one.
Thanks a lot.
Jonathan Green has got his wet tyres on, I think, for the pit lane walkabout now. Meanwhile, a little more time to run for cover around Brands Hatch here. Lots of umbrellas out. It was protecting them from the sun just a short while ago.
And looking at the cloud, Keith, it's a good solid grey cloud cover, 100% cover. I think we're going to be in for a wet race as well as a wet practice.
Well, lots coming, of course, here on Sky Sports. We're going to cover it all for you. We're going to take a short break while conditions are dampened here at Brands Hatch. We'll see you in just a few moments. Well, we've had it all here at Brands Hatch. Now the rain. The umbrellas are up. They were used for the sunshine. It's been a glorious couple of days of qualifying here. It's looked dull most of the day today, but now the rain is here. The British weather has turned at Brands Hatch. Huge crowd. It's going to be like Glastonbury all over again if it rains hard. Well, there's another use for crash helmets. Keeps the rain off your barnet. Nobody's leaving though. Race 2, part 2 is minutes away. 4:55 will be the restart of the race. That is in something like 45 minutes time. We will of course give you that. They've got to go out and have a wet practice yet, the Superbike riders. They're certainly working for their money today. Keith Coe, thank you for staying with us for all of this. I think my throat and the rest of us are being treated to some very exciting action out there, most of it controversial. Excuse me. The one thing that I did notice was that Carl Fogarty seems very committed today, doesn't he, in that second race? He really did force his way through there.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't think so.
Good. I'm glad you agree with me then.
Foggy had a wheel on Keeley right there, and it was up to Keeley. It was his decision on whether to stay there or move out. There's no hope, no possibility that he was looking out to the outside of the track. You can see his helmet tilted right in. He certainly saw Carl coming in underneath him, and he decided to stay committed to that line, which was obviously an error.
Well, I'm glad you saw it the way I saw it in commentary, but the one thing that made me think that there was a little bit of guilt there coming from Carl was when he put his hand up.
Well, he knew he tagged him, and that was the reason for the hand up there. And I think the hand was up there because he didn't think that that Keeley went down. That's for sure. Because he had a clean pass going in there, and certainly it was definitely a stuff it type of a maneuver, but that's what Brands Hatch is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, the nature of this circuit is that you do not have to be incredibly specific. It's not a terribly technical course. That's why we see 10 riders out there with 10 completely different lines going around this course. The first 10 riders qualifying within a few tenths of a second, and it's not incredibly technical, but it certainly is a circuit that requires courage.
Well, we've got a lot more coming up in this programme. Earlier on in the year, because we have a little more time on our hands at this particular point in the studio, we're going to go and take a look back at Carl Fogarty's favourite 5 races previously to Brands Hatch this weekend. Don't think this one will be his 6th somehow. How come you had never won a race at Brands Hatch? No club racing, no national racing, no international racing, especially since it's a fairly major diet.
I know, I had no idea really. I just had a lot of bad luck there. I set pole position there and then broke down on the warm-up lap and just things like that. You know, I led there in '93, the World Superbike race, first ever one in Brands Hatch, and fell off on the first lap. Just everything had always gone wrong for me there. So to go there this time, leading the World Championship, and for what's happened, it was just an incredible day. I can't remember what sort of lead I had at one time. I think it was somewhere around 7 seconds. Then once I got around 7 seconds, I relaxed a little bit. And I think I remember rightly, a little bit too much, because the end of this race, I think I ended up winning by about 1 second or so. I remember looking back and seeing Edwards and thinking, oh God, I better get off that line before I start any more celebrating. That's what got my head down again, and then I went, woof, take that, that's mine.
And they love him.
Oh, who's this bloke?
Yeah, look at them leathers.
Nice leathers, yeah.
I tell you what, that is the one thing I regret so much about this race, is wearing them hideous leathers. I can't believe I wore them leathers.
Fogarty looks on the inside, pushes him out. What a move! Can Russell reply?
I was having trouble with the gear change, and every time I came out the old hairpin, I was having to shut the throttle and just dab it in twice. I was just frightened the thing was just going to break on me. And I think that's what kept me going in the last few laps. I had to concentrate so hard on the bike running right that it gave me that second burst of energy to keep going. I'm sure I had the fastest lap. To go from that sort of point with an all-time low that had ever been, I think, in racing, due to how much the bike was costing me to run, I'm not getting anywhere and fall off in that first race, to turn it all round 2 hours later and winning the first ever World Superbike race in front of, a British crowd as well, and that's what did it for me, that one race. It was just an incredible weekend. I felt confident because I got there, I said, if the bike works good, you get the tyre right, it's dry, I'll just win. And that was it, really. That was just the way I felt. I felt really good. I've got the bike working really well at Phillip Island.
Has the Kawasaki got away from him? Will we see traditional Ducati power? I think so.
Well, it certainly looked like it to me. Blasted past up the hill. That's going to annoy Scott Russell like you can't believe.
It started raining a little bit on the sighting lap, and I just looked up and thought, this is unbelievable, what's going to happen now? But I think the thing was, I knew it wasn't going to stay wet. It was just because this dark cloud coming over with blue sky behind it, so it made things even more exciting, I guess, everybody back home. And
oh, sit up, Uncle Carl. Please don't do that too often.
I remember just coming out the last corner probably now and just thinking, yes, at last, it's just all over,
That man, Carl Fogarty, has taken the race win.
Why do you like Assen so much?
I think it just suits the way I ride a bike. I carry a lot of corner speed. That's my strong point, carrying corner speed. It's what won me the championships in '94, '95, and when I come to Assen, it's just a circuit where you've got to carry loads of corner speed, and it just suits me perfect. I knew it was going to come down to the last corner, and I was probably a bit too cautious around the last few bends leading up to it, really, which was a bit stupid. And it meant Corsa got back in touch again, because he'd actually dropped off with half a lap to go a little bit. But yeah, I had to brake as late as I could, and the back end was moving around a little bit, and he came up underneath me. I thought, well, we're both going to run wide, we've got to do this. As we sort of went in and run wide, as we flicked back, instead of going to second, I left it in first, because it was a bit off power, and I just hit the gas as hard as I could, and they went straight across the curb thing. And headed for the line, and I knew John was still going to be running wide, and I thought if I can get on the power and keep the front wheel down, I can out-sprint into the line, and that's what happened. He was still trying to get on the gas, probably in second gear the way he was going through the chicane, and then Corsa come running through the chicane with a bit of a run, and nearly got us both. Well, he got John, but didn't quite get me, so it was great to win that way.
It is a day to remember. Carl Fogarty is the winner of race 2. He is still king of Assen.
I was just at an all-time low, to be honest. Slater just won the first race to make it even worse, I think. I'd been crashing all year, just couldn't get on with this thing, and just started that second race. This is it.
Aaron Slight right up in the end, pushes corner, goes Foggy, goes through, Carl Fogarty goes through to the lead. Oh, that is incredible.
And I got a good start in that second race. First time all year I got away with them, got up front. I thought, if I can just hang on in here now for a few laps and just find out where they're faster than me, get a bit more confident. And just as the race went on, I got more and more confident and thought, I'm going to win this. It was just incredible. Just again, a bit like Donington '92, turned the whole race around within 2 hours. The whole season, around in 2 hours. Everybody's saying he's never going to win on the bike, and me feeling so bad on the bike. I couldn't get anything working right, slick getting sight, having some big crashes, just so many things, and just to switch it all around in 2 hours and win a race and shut everybody up and get the confidence back that's been missing from me and start getting somewhere with a bike, it was just incredible.
It's just the time where Carl Fogarty goes to retain his World Championship for a third year running. Aaron Schleit's right on his tail, but it's going to be Carl Fogarty sideways on over the line, takes it to the flag. Fogarty wins in Hockenheim, Kaczynski can only look on. Aaron Slide is second. The crowd are absolutely amazed at Fogarty. He wheelies in celebration. The world champ is back.
What a difference a few minutes make. This is the scene now at Brands Hatch. It is absolutely soaking wet. Carl Fogarty flying round on bike number 4 at the top of Dingle Dell. We can go now to Julian Ryder and Keith Code, who's taken over from my position in the commentary box at the moment, to talk us through the wet practice that's underway.
Thank you, Keith. Yes, we're looking at our timing monitor and we can tell you that Carl Fogarty is going round somewhat tentatively in 1 minute 57 seconds, 8th fastest at the moment. But I can tell you that Michael Rutter, who we know goes well in the wet, is going round fastest in 1 minute 44s. Keith, how much will these conditions even up machinery disadvantages, or is that a simplistic way of putting it?
I don't know. I think that with a new surface here at Brands Hatch and with very little rain experience by most of the top runners, that it's really, this practice is going on right now, this wet practice is absolutely necessary. I'm sure it's going to change the face of the race. Kaczynski's been very, very strong in the wet in the past. Russell's been incredibly strong, and as you pointed out a moment ago, this is exactly what the British fans did not want to see.
Yeah, because John Kaczynski has just been precision personified in the wet this season. The guy has been awesome. Keith, you're a Californian. It doesn't rain in California. How come all these Americans, Randy Mamola turned himself into the best wet weather rider in Grand Prix, having by his own admission not had a clue when he first raced in the rain? How do you do it?
It's absolutely true. And I have no idea, except for the fact that the dirt trackers, that Randy was a good dirt tracker. Scott Russell actually turned into a good dirt tracker. John Kaczynski was never much on a professional circuit as a dirt tracker, but did a good deal of it when he was a young man.
Indeed.
Spent a lot of time up at Kenny Roberts' ranch up near Modesto, and was one of the fast guys up there, certainly on XR 100s. And also, Kaczynski's riding style, his way low forward riding style, is really an asset.
Well, what we're looking at here, as we look at Scott Russell, who Keith was just talking about, is we have a two-part race. We're going to have amalgamated times from the two halves, and what's happening now is you're looking at the wet weather practice happening between the two halves of this race, because these guys have not practiced at all in the wet this weekend. So as Keith just said, this is a very, very necessary interval for the sake of safety, of course. And we just saw Jim Whittam in the picture just now on the Suzuki, which I regard as an incredibly peaky motorcycle that should be difficult in the wet.
Exactly.
And Jim's going round third quickest in the wet. It's interesting that it's 3 British riders who are quickest and Akira Yanagawa who's next up.
Here again, I think the intimate knowledge of the local riders, people who've been brought up on this circuit, despite the fact that it's got new pavement, but know the circuit so well, is really an amazing advantage. Here we go. We see Whittam right here doing a splendid job of riding around. They're really not getting it loose at all. And you're right, the 4-cylinder bikes should have a distinct disadvantage against the Ducatis.
Especially this one, which is by all accounts the most difficult one, the most peaky one, the one that they have most difficulty getting the traction on. So is the fact they're going to be circulating at, say, 10 seconds a lap slower, is that going to take the edge off that problem for Jim Whittam and make his life easier?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Riding in the wet is far easier than riding in the dry, because you know, your lines do not have to be so precision. You really don't have all the technical skills that you have to watch out for. Braking's not that hard, so the whole thing is slowed down. It's quite a slow motion activity, and for the riders who like slow motion.
Indeed. Well, we just got a glimpse of John Kaczynski. And he is the boy. We'll have to look at the monitor. He's only just gone out. He's 15th fastest at the moment, 2 minutes 6. So he's just on an outlap. As again, we track Jim Whittam on number 12 with his teammate Mike Hale, who I think is an underachiever beyond belief, because he was such a demon dirt tracker. He was wonderful on RC45 in the States. But Keith, you must know the guy. He came here, he had a bad year on Ducati. I think a change of tyres had something to do with it.
Right.
And now he's on a difficult bike. This guy, as we look at John Kaczynski, who we will pick up in a minute, but Mike Hale, why is he underachieving? He's a talented man.
Well, you could say the same thing about Colin Edwards as well. He has yet to be in the center of the winners of the rostrum, and I think that my opinion was that when both Mike Hale and also Colin Edwards left America, that they should have stayed there one more year just to get seasoned. I think they should have been left in the cask, down in the cellar, on U.S. Superbikes or on 250 Grand Prix bikes, which is where Colin came from.
Yes.
And not nearly enough experience over there, because it is a good breeding ground. We've got great circuits over there, and I think both of them needed another season, and they were they were pushed to the, they wanted to get into the glory of the World Championships.
Sure. Now, talking of World Championships, the 1990 250 Grand Prix champion John Kaczynski, the acknowledged wet weather master this year. He's into 150s now. John's just getting in the groove. We're going to see him go faster as we watch Scott Russell? Does he have to go fast? Does he have to get up to race speed, or can you just find out what's happening by circulating more gently?
Well, okay, the secret to a wet weather tire is how new it is and how sharp the edges of the tire are.
Right.
They wear out quite quickly, and in circumstances that we have right now, we've got plenty of wet pavement out there. There's no drying situation.
It's going to stay that way by the look of this.
And I think it's going to stay that way. We've got full wet conditions. There's no hope of going to an intermediate tire right now. And I think John, again, with his bizarre hang-off riding style, actually very similar in some senses to Randy Momola, who as you pointed out before, Julie, was a terrific wet weather rider. In fact, a master at it.
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you that Michael Rutter, the English privateer, well, Honda Britain bike, is still the fastest bloke out there.
That's right.
A few years ago, Keith, in 1993, in pouring rain here, absolutely pouring rain again, Michael Rutter was running 4th or 5th, chasing the World Endurance champion, Adrian Morillas, in the wet. And Morillas is, in my view, one of the most experienced wet weather riders out there then. So Michael Rutter he can go in the wet. Yanagawa is 2nd, Foggy's up to 3rd, Witt is 4th, Chris Walker, who doesn't know this circuit very well, but sure knows how to ride in the wet, is 5th, Aaron Slight 6th, Hodgson 7th, Crafar 8th, Mike Hale 9th, in front of Kaczynski, Russell, Nigel Nottingham, there's a true privateer. Right, the World Superbike Championship, we're going to see race 2, the second half of race 2. The first half having happened due to rain, in about half an hour's time at 4:55. We should get the green light then, but what we're looking at the moment is the first wet weather practice of the week. We've had to have this for safety reasons. It's absolutely right it should happen. We've had so many interruptions today. There is Simon Crafar, a New Zealander. Those boys can usually ride in the wet. They have to.
That's right. There's plenty of rain in down under, especially in New Zealand. Take a look at what we have right now. We have up through Slight, up through 7 places, lapping about in the 145s. Now it just moved up a bit, but there is Mr. Rutter at a 141.4, some 4 seconds faster than Walker, Kaczynski, Slight, Hodgson, Crafar. He is definitely, as you said, an amazing wet weather talent.
Yeah, I saw him at Donington Park a year ago win a British Superbike round in the wet. I was talking to James Whittam before the off, and I said, watch Rutter in the wet. And I was sorry I said it, really, because Jim was a bit shocked by the way that Rutter went, but he's a nice, quiet boy. He's a bloke who, a few years ago, Keith, I said, Michael Rutter, young, our best hope, get him on the world scene, but he's been diverted to, like, the TT and road circuits. And I know there's money there for a British rider. Right. I really wish he'd have gone to a full season abroad. I mean, I'm not a TT fan. There are people around here like Andy Kershaw in the studio who is. Time to race 2, 25 minutes, 34 seconds. We are counting down the time to race 2 for you there on your captain as we watch Carl Fogarty looking smooth in the wet. A few years ago, Keith, as a 250 rider, Carl was a demon. Then he fell off here in 93 in the wet and froze about the wet. Was that? Can you get over that with any ease, do you think?
Yeah, actually it's very interesting because Foggy has a certain set on the bike that you normally see him, and you get used to seeing him in that position on the bike in the dry, and it looks like he's almost like he doesn't like the bike.
Yeah, you can see there what we were talking about earlier. Michael Rutter, an astounding time in the wet. I don't think Keith Code knows Michael Rutter at all. Hasn't seen him, hasn't noticed him, but he is impressed. I'm impressed with Yanagawa. We know Jim Whittam and Walker can ride. John Kaczynski, well, we know exactly what he can do in the wet. We really do. Now we're running down the
5th. Kaczynski's up to 5th now. He's moving forward.
He's making his play. Yeah. Making his play. We're looking down. Scott Russell only 14th, 151 at the moment. And we're back looking at Carl Fogarty. Anything to say about Carl's riding style in the wet, Keith, that you can spot at this range?
Yeah, actually, as I was saying before, his wet weather style looks stiff. He looks a little bit like he's pushing the bike away from them, rather than that down-in-it committed style that Kaczynski's got and some of the other wet weather heroes of the past, where they're right into the bike. They continue hanging off the bike as much as possible to keep it up as vertical as possible so they can get into that gas, get on the center part of the tire, and get the drives off the corners, because obviously nobody's going to have high corner speeds and high turn entry speeds in the wet.
That's an interesting comparison with Randy Mamela, who, as Carl comes in the pits, Randy's style was theatrical. But as we still look at the time of Michael Rutter at 1:41 and marvel at the fact he's the quickest man out there, let's go for a break as they get themselves sorted out. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch, and as you can see, it is still raining. They have completed their wet weather practice. That's over and done with. Now then, if we look back to that incident that halted race 1 earlier on today, if you were with us, you will have seen Graham Ritchie crash badly at Hawthorne Corner. The official line is, at the moment, we can confirm the rider sustained head and chest injuries, and the hospital have confirmed that he's in intensive care but stable. We'll bring you as much news on Graham Ritchie as we can as the programme progresses. And of course, we start in something like 20 minutes now for race 2, part 2. Andy Kershaw has come up out of the rain. You can trust him to come in here if it's a bit more like it, can't you?
Yeah, if it's on cracking the flags, yeah.
So,
suddenly we're at Glastonbury, Keith, aren't we? Look at the pictures on one of our other screens there of some people huddling under polythene sheeting. Yeah, suddenly we're at a rock festival. And I noticed as I came into the commentary booth from the pit lane just a few minutes ago, in the scaffolding underneath our makeshift studio, there's about 300 people sheltering, like nestling there like pigeons.
They've been under there all day, I can tell you. They've been building things out the front. It's a wonder we can still look out. So it's raining still. It doesn't look like it's going to blow over either, Andy. It is Glastonbury part 2.
Yeah.
So what do you fancy for this second part of things? I mean, I know that you've always got quite a nice opinion on bits and pieces. Crayfire you thought was going to win that.
Well, I was certain, actually, before...
More certain than him, even?
More certain than him. Before those first few spots around. No, he did actually say to me...
There we are.
Yeah, there we are. That's our commentary box, and there are people huddling underneath it.
Looks like we're at cricket, doesn't it, really? Eh?
He said to me on the grid, I don't know whether you could hear it because the engine noise, but before the first leg, I said to him, you know, when's this breakthrough going to come, Simon? Are you going to get this first win? And he, like, did that, punched the tank with his index finger and said, now, this is it. And in the second race, until the rain started, and especially after Killy went down, and it looked like a tussle between Foggy and Crayfire. He was so fired up beforehand, I thought that was going to be Crayfire's race. I was really sure he was going to win that one. It's a pity it poured down.
Well, look, we're getting all the scenes out. I remind you at home not to use plastic bags in the same manner as that particular person was earlier. That's Jonathan Green. Oh, I'll recognise that bag. He was like that last night. So, the scenes of Brands Hatch. Well, these guys are going to be going home in the dark, that's for certain, aren't they? I mean, there's a whole...
Neil Mackenzie is going to be 37 by the time we get this race finished. He is. Yeah.
I'm still amazed you are.
No, but in these conditions, I think we have to. I think they have to favour Kaczynski, even though we've just seen Rutter put in those really good times.
That's amazing. Rutter really flying. He could do with a result.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. And also, Killy's a good weather rider too.
But we didn't see him out in the rain.
He didn't do that practice session. I wonder why. Now, you say you saw him walking back from the incident in the previous race.
Would I lie to you?
No, of course you wouldn't. I don't think you would, anyway. And so you say he was walking back, so there's no serious injury. But who knows? You know, he could have banged his hand.
I've just been told Keely won't race. He's out. That's just come back to us via the wonderful communications.
This meeting, isn't it?
It is actually. We could be here tomorrow.
Oh dear.
So this part 2, Carl Fogarty's got to hold it together. He's looked very tense to me today.
We're looking at him on a monitor now. He looks very glum. He looks, I think, rather than tense.
I was commentating on his performance in the wet weather then, and his performance in that dry part of race 2. I thought he looked tense. I thought he looked anxious on the bike.
Even when he was leading?
When he was leading, he still looked a man to me that was anxious to do it. I think that first race possibly has wrong-footed him so badly. He's just so anxious to win this race meeting.
It's possible, and, you know, in contrast to that, I thought Crayfire looked so cool. That's why I was fairly sure he was going to reel Carl in. But, you know, now it's the heavens have opened. It's a lottery, isn't it? What's this telling us?
Well, everything was supposed to go so right today. It looked so good at the beginning of the week. Everything went well in qualifying. It was all going according to plan, and it's come apart at the seams now. I mean, the Fogarty camp, you've been down there observing what they've been up to. What's the feeling down in pit lane?
I think people are just fed up, you know, Keith, because everyone obviously gets psyched up for it, and then they go out on the grid, and after it's happened in both races now, after a few laps, they get hauled back in, and as we've just seen with Carl there, we had a shot of him sitting in his garage. It's the hurry up and wait situation, you know. You sit down and you wait and you wait. There's a chap walking in now who's going to be able to give us a much more expert view on this than my speculation. And I'm sure they feel the same as
as we do, you know, the media people.
Yeah, wet and completely cheesed off with it all. John Kaczynski.
We just want to get on with it.
John Kaczynski, he looks pretty cool, doesn't he, little John? I mean, maybe he's not fazed by anything nowadays, and the wet weather might even actually suit him round here at Brands Hatch. One or two riders that supposedly know have said that this place is quite grippy in the wet, so with the new surface. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that shapes off. Well, joining us here now in the studio, we have Neil Mackenzie, a hero of race one. Neil, thank you very much for joining us. And shorts don't seem to be the order of the day, gentlemen, nowadays, but you've been caught out.
You're the odd one out.
I am the odd one out. Yes, they say that about me, actually. Race one, first of all, congratulations for that. It was a superb ride. You really did pick it up where Kyle Fogarty lost it. Did you expect in your wildest mind that anything could happen like that today? Did you expect to be on the podium today?
Well, as the weekend went on, it was looking more and more a possibility. We came here really looking to qualify in one of the first 3 rows. Finish, a couple of top 10 finishes would have been nice, but from day one on Friday, first practice went really well. The bike worked well straight off. Dunlop gave us real good support this weekend, and we were on the pace straight away and managed to sustain that over the weekend.
Somebody said in your team that Dunlop have given you the kind of tyres that the World Superbike guys are on that you wouldn't normally race in the British Championship with. Has it made that much difference?
You need them to compete with the other guys out there that are on similar rubber. I think coming here on Friday and being second quickest straight away got the Dunlop guys' attention, and they thought, oh well, and Yamaha obviously, they want as many bikes at the front as possible, so between them they decided to give me some good rubber, and we had that support all through the weekend, including the first race, and worked out really well.
What about your partner here, Chris Walker? Of course, he was given the Works Yamaha ride alongside Scott Russell. How are they feeling down there? Because he hasn't really, he's had quite a good ride, but how's he feeling during the day? Would he have been better off on his normal bike, do you think, rather than the full Works Yamaha?
Well, he has arrived at good settings now, but maybe the first couple of practice sessions he would have been more confident to ride his own bike and maybe get it up there a bit earlier on. But as the weekend's gone on, it's been good experience for him. He's worked with the factory guys, he's got the bike dialed into the way he wants it, and I don't think he'll be too unhappy now that it's raining, because he went really well here at the British Championship round. When it was raining, and could be on for a result.
So what about your race too? Came to a premature end. What was the reason for that?
Basically the clutch. I had a few clutch problems in race one that disappeared mid-race, and in the excitement at the end of the race we didn't have a proper debrief with the mechanics. Until I came back to the pit for the beginning of the second race, I didn't even think about it. I had a look at the bike and then told them about the clutch. It's a slipper clutch, which means when you're racing into corners and you back shift, the clutch actually slips to stop the rear wheel locking up. But it was also slipping coming out, and after a couple more starts it made it even worse, and then it was really inconsistent in the second race and scaring me a bit. So
well, at one point I thought, Neil, that you were going to wipe your clutch lever off, and this is the point. Perhaps you'll talk us through this. A little cheeky from the Scotsman, I think.
2 or 3 laps to go there, and I knew I had to make a move on Kaczynski before we got onto the long part of the circuit. And because his bike's so fast in the straight bits, I had to do it there, and it was sort of there or not at all. So
he wasn't very happy to be on a Honda there, was he?
No,
not at that specific moment in the race.
It worked out for the best.
Can I just ask you something, Neil? Are you not allowed to restart now in this wet race because you retired in the first bit?
I possibly could, but I stopped before that race. The other race was stopped, and it ran for about another 4 laps, so I could possibly restart, but the chance of having the result, unless everyone fell off, are practically
it's aggregate times, Andy. At the end of the day, it's added together. So whereas in race one it went full distance because it was stopped before 2 laps are over.
I see. Can I just ask you one other quick thing? As a completely non-technical man, what's the difference between the Yamaha you're riding and the one that Chris Walker's on, the ex-Colin Edwards one, or formerly Colin Edwards?
Well, it should be subtle improvements. His is a 97 spec bike and mine's 96 spec bike.
Don't you ever listen to our commentary, Kershaw? What's the matter with you?
Well,
if you listen to our commentary, you know, you actually hear all this.
Shouting in one ear and your commentary in the other. So his bike, crudely, his bike is faster than yours.
I don't think it is a lot faster, to be honest. I think there should be subtle improvements, but I mean, tenths of a second in lap times, really.
Let's take a look then. It's a change of visors, a change of helmet, possibly. Scott Russell preparing to go out for what is going to be declared a wet race. What are the riders going through at the moment, Neil?
Well, at least they've had 15 minutes practice, which is obviously useful. But the British Championship riders that are in this race, I think, will be feeling quite happy about it because they've had a lot of time on the new surface. They know it's grippy. In fact, one of the races here in the British Championship round was won on slick. Sean Emmett won with a rear slick on, so there is a lot of grip, and I think the British lads know there's more grip, and they should be in a good position.
Your ex-partner from last year in the Cadbury's Boost Yamaha team, James Whittam, he obviously likes going around the wet. What's the Suzuki going to be like around here, do you think? Is he going to be able to pick up the pace?
I think he will be. I mean, I was looking at the practice there and I'm thinking, oh, James Whittam, he's good in the wet, and then I saw Scott Russell, he's good in the wet, Chris Walker, Michael Rutter, but John Kaczynski, they're all good in the wet, so...
Is that why you're not going out?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not... I mean,
You have a nice little sit down with us, Neil. Don't you go out and...
I'm not too unhappy. I mean, ideally I would be out there, but it's a waste of time for me going out there, so I'm quite happy to watch the lads playing.
Well, you've been out there, you know this place fairly well. Who's going to be in the first three of this restarted part? I won't ask you for the aggregate at the end of it, but who's going to do it in the wet conditions?
Well, there's just so many riders that are on for a result now. They all think, right, it's levelled now, we're going to get a result. So Mr. Whittam, he's going to be favourite. Michael Rutter is so cool and a really good wet weather rider, but I don't know about aggregate time, if he can actually maybe get in the first three. But I think Whittam, Kaczynski, Michael Rutter's going to be up there for sure. It's just, the list goes on. Scott Russell definitely wants another result.
Well, you've committed yourself to three. Andy, you're fairly forceful in your opinions of how things were going to go. You were on for Crayfile winning this particular race. How's it going to go now?
I've completely lost the plot now, kid. Now you introduce this idea of aggregate times. You know, to me, it's like whoever crosses the line first tends to win the race, but no, that's completely shot that idea to pieces. Well, you know, it's not my natural inclination, but in the way he's performed in the wet so far this season in the odd wet race, then I think you have to favour Kaczynski. And you say Killy isn't going, and he's another good wet man. And, you know, perhaps, as Neil was saying, Whittam's used to this environment, so perhaps we'll see a good result from James. And, you know, I'm still...
Hoping.
Hoping. I just like Simon Crayford is such a nice bloke, you know, and he's not won a race yet, and I want him to win one. And he's so cool as well. Do you know what he did? Just before race one, you won't believe this. I said to him, because I'm polite, like, you know, I come up on the grid and said, do you mind if we have a word in about a minute? And he said, no, that's okay. And just before I started to interview him, he said, excuse me, jumped off the bike and said, I've got to go for a wee. And jumped over the pit wall and went to the toilets in the control tower, and there was only about 2 minutes to
Do you always have that effect on people? Because I want one now.
Yeah, I'd want one too if I was going out there.
So we're looking down on the grid then. This is it. We have 8 minutes and 32 seconds to go, 29 even now, to the restart of race 2. It is still raining out there, looking over my shoulder. These are live pictures. These are our men lining up down on the grid. And I have to say that the conditions are worsening, if anything, around the track. Well, while they contemplate exactly what their strategy is going to be in the rerun of race 2, we're going to take another short break. Join us for more live action here at Brands Hatch, part 2. Welcome back to Brands Hatch, and a dramatic, if somewhat confusing kind of a day. It started off in sunshine, it's ending in rain. The opposite, in fact, to Donington Park, the last round of World Superbikes here. Now then, if you wondered what happened between Pier Francesco Chili and Carl Fogarty, there is Chili undressing as ever and going back to see his mate Carl Fogarty. So obviously no hard feelings here. Pier Francesco Chili won't be riding in the restart. He's out of this race. You'll remember that he and Carl came together at Druids Corner. This is Carl Fogarty, that is his wife Michaela, and down on pit lane, Jonathan Green has Scott Russell there. Will Scott get a quicker start this time round? Jonathan, you've got the hot news?
Well, they said about 4 seasons in one day. It's a bit like Suzuka again all over, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, it's just like it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but, well, it was 4th there. You were only just beaten into the podium. Can you go one better here?
We're going to try to do about 3 better.
Can you stay on in these conditions?
We'll find out.
All right, best of luck to you.
Jonathan Green there having a bad hair day down in the rain. At least he's working for a living today, that's for sure. Running around, this is what it looks like from Jamie Whittam's point of view through the screen. And this guy is going to do some work, I think, around the track. Neil Mackenzie, Jamie Whittam, that's the kind of view. It's not one that's very nice to look through, is it?
Be looking through there, but it'll be similar sort of situation on his visor. But yeah, I mean, he's got his tyres on and he's ready to go. Everyone's on a sort of level playing ground now, and he's got a good chance of getting a rostrum here.
Carl Fogarty to the left of our picture then. Here he is. Now then, the the grid here at Brands Hatch is on a gradient, and at the end of the day, that outside position is better than being on the inside, isn't it? Because you've got a steeper hill to get up on the right-hand side of the track, and on the left-hand where Fogarty is, it's slightly less. Is that any advantage?
Yeah, it's better being up higher because it is flatter up there when you're down in the bottom there, and it is quite a difference in gradient. You have to, your bikes wants to wheelie, and it's not easy to get off there, but they also have to be really careful with the paint there. It's really slippy.
Which is why we were amazed at the start you got in your race.
Yeah, it's not like me at all to get a good start, especially for when I've got a disadvantage on the grid. But
did you have someone waving from the
start? And with being an old fella as well.
Yeah, I know, a bit lethargic.
Actually, you're older than him, Andy.
I know, we found out too, didn't we?
So they're off on their warm-up lap, and I use inverted commas when I say that. And we get all the pictures around the paddock. Carl Fogarty dropping down from Druids. He certainly had a few moments out of there. I don't know whether you were party to any of the footage that's been going out, Neil.
No, but in practice, I saw him have some moments out of there, and it was a bit worrying, really.
Explain these to us then, Neil. If you were in the paddock, you've got half a second lead over Crayfire and Hodgson. What would be your strategy in these in the aggregate time battle?
Well, they just have to go for it, really, and then maybe they'll obviously know what riders are around them and have a look at the pit boards, and the pit boards will give them the real position and the real time.
How difficult is it for the team? I mean, they've obviously got a lot of work to do and a lot of calculations. It's my view that quite a lot of team technicians aren't real good at maths.
Yeah, well, it's the best of the ones that are good at maths employed today, because they need to get it right, because there can be a lot of risk taking for nothing here. So they'll have to be on the ball and to keep the rider informed.
Well, you can see how much spray there is out there. Hodgson goes through Akira Yanagao. Number 2 is Aaron Slight. 22 is Scott Russell. There's Hodgson on 9. 8 is Akira. 2 is Slight. 22, Scott Russell. Andy Kershaw, Scott Russell really could do something here on this Yamaha, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think he could. He's also seems to be in a much better frame of mind than he's been in a long time. You know, it was something earlier this season, but a different character to the one we've seen in previous seasons. He was rather sullen, you know, aggressive, given to odd behavioural traits. But he seems much more relaxed and, you know, much more happy with himself than he's been in a long time. Actually quite a personable bloke now, you know, which he didn't used to be.
Well, they come to the line then. 15 laps will be the race distance, and of course they line up as they finish the race, as they finish the first part. So if you're wondering why they're on different grid positions, Andy Kershaw is going to get a headache tablet because he really is having to use his brain today.
Julian will sort it all out for us.
Hopefully accurately. That's why I've not gone round to the commentary box yet. I'm leaving him to do it. So they're going to start this part of the race where they finished the last one. And Julian Ryder, get your mathematics and your calculator working.
Well, whatever happens, Keith, this is going to be a great race. It's a mathematician's nightmare, but we've got John Kaczynski on the front row now, and he has been absolutely awesome in the rain. And those of you who are watching Chelsea and Man U draw 1-1, we've delayed a Superbike race so you can get some live racing. Aren't we good to you? The red light's on, the green light's on, and Kaczynski launches perfectly. Scott Russell is coming through like a bomb. Scott Russell coming through.
Oh, Scotty Russell straight there, Julian.
Oh, wonderful to see. Kaczynski second, Foggy going past him. Foggy pushes past. Crayfire is fourth.
Oh, this is going to be a hell of a race. Well, nice to join you back in the commentary box here. It's flooded.
It is. And I had a real cerebral conversation with Keith Code about weather riding. I really enjoyed that.
Yes, and the water on the floor here, I'm paddling in it. But look at Scott Russell. Well, we were saying he could come up with something, but we didn't think it was going to be this.
He needs 5.5 seconds over Carl Fogarty to win.
He's nearly got it now.
I know. Well, they all said, Keith Code was telling me off air that he was a really good wet weather rider on treaded tyre bikes, production bikes back in the States. He's proven it to us again.
Let's take another look at the start then, Julian, from a different angle. Oh, a little bit of cheating going on there. Well, dearie me. I wonder if there'll be any penalties. They'll be coming to our truck for the tape. Through goes Scott Russell then. 22 is Scott Russell. 4 is Fogarty. And look at him. Fogarty getting good drive. Look at Michael Rutter. Rutter comes through. Well, Michael Rutter, only 23 years old, on the V&M Honda. Had a tough year. Foggy goes through. Foggy waves to Scott Russell. You cheeky little man, you. So, the man from Blackburn goes through with a quick, cheeky wave to Scott Russell. Loses his footing as he comes into Stirling's. Well, now then, fears come to my mind now. Coming down to this turn where we are at this point into the braking area was where Carl Fogarty lost it a few years ago.
1993.
Big style. He's still on it though,
And
where he should be.
That's the year, Keith, that Michael Rutter was running with the big boys.
Look at this. Incredible stuff here. Here's Rutter coming through. Number 40, Michael Rutter. Fogarty leads. Rutter second. Rutter second. Michael Rutter has gone second. Rutter is after Fogarty. What a scalp that'll be.
He can do it, believe me. We've got the combined times up on our timing monitor, so we're able to give you that as the race goes on. Michael Rutter has got to make 18 seconds over Carl Fogarty, and that is asking a little much, I feel.
15 laps, though.
He could make a rostrum, couldn't he?
He could make a rostrum. So, with 13 laps left to go, it's Michael Rutter versus Carl Fogarty.
Oh, dear, Michael.
Well, Michael could win a lot of fans here. He could also lose a lot if he knocks Carl Fogarty off.
He's too good a wet weather to do that. I'm wondering about what he's thinking as he sees Carl Fogarty in front of him. Will that give him pause for thought? You know, I shouldn't be overtaking the double world champ.
It's not going to affect where Carl Fogarty is going to end up as far as the aggregate times are concerned. Only Carl Fogarty can affect that at the end of the day. Michael Rutter's just going for the Part 2 race win, my view is.
He's up from 18th to 12th already, Michael Rutter. Overall, I can tell you.
Well, Jack Valentine and Steve Mellors in the V&M camp are going to be absolutely standing on top of their stools for this one.
They're a team we know from Supersport more than anything else.
And drag racing before that. V&M famous for drag racing. Here is Scott Russell, 22. Then it's John Kaczynski. Then it's Akira Yanagawa. And then 42 coming through. That's a good one for him. Moving up right the way through. 42 is Chris Walker. So Chris Walker on the Works Yamaha. Race stringer comes through. Michael Rutter looking there.
He's thinking about it, he really is. I'm sure he doesn't want to do it, you know. He thinks he shouldn't. Will he get the drive here at Clearways and time underneath him? Oh, Michael.
Well, he did. In actual fact, if Carl hadn't been using a tight line then, I think Michael would have gone past.
If you're Carl, do you let him go?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. The battle isn't between these two. It's about Carl Fogarty's aggregate time over, well, John Kaczynski, really, isn't it?
It is, and at the moment, Foggy has 2.4 seconds over Simon Crafar, who is second. Hodgson is fourth, 4 seconds behind. Scott Russell is already up to fourth, I beg your pardon. Kaczynski fifth, 7 seconds behind Carl Fogarty.
Yeah, but if Carl Fogarty knows that he's got a 2.4 second lead in this race...
Here comes Rutter.
That's all he'll count. He'll let Rutter go.
Yep.
At the end of the day, if Carl's got a 2.4 second lead over Crafar, it's all he can do is win the race. He's only got to win the race. He wants to pick up the whole 25 points, and he'll know from his pit board. I hope they haven't got Slick doing the mathematics.
Yes, you can, yeah, we'll agree on that, shall we? Yes, he has double counting.
Michael Rutter leads. Michael Rutter leads then. Well, this is superb. Michael Rutter goes through number 40 on the V&M Honda, the RC45. It is Michael Rutter in front here at Brands Hatch. That is a superb sight for him, and this is going to be a real feather in his cap.
And all you Man U and Chelsea fans who are watching the Charity Shield, aren't you glad we delayed this for you? To give you some live Superbike racing. 2 Brits at the front, an American third. But overall, we have 2 Brits in first and third, because Neil Hodgson is still third on aggregate timing.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of seconds over Scott Russell in fourth at the moment, even though Scott's going quick. Michael Rutter, this could be quite good because Rutter will tow Fogarty round with some luck, and Fogarty will just have someone to aim at all the way round. Rutter is going to be consistently quite quick. The only difficulty is, of course, he's throwing up a spray straight into Fogarty.
Well, Michael Rutter's already made up 9 places. He's now 9th overall, but he now has an 11-second gap to make up over Aaron
6
Sly.
seconds is the lead. Fogarty has a 6-second lead over Hodgson. Crafar has dropped into 3rd place now. Russell stays in 4th. I'll tell you what, it's close for 2nd place.
Isn't it just?
There is just 0.3 of a second that separate Hodgson, Crafar and Russell for 2nd place on corrected time. A further 2 seconds back is John Kaczynski, being followed by Jamie Whittam. Here he is on track.
But Crafar is only 10th on the road. He's a Dunlop runner, and the common knowledge is the Dunlop wets are not in the league of the Michelin wets. So poor Simon Crafar, Akira Yanagawa. But in that case, Keith, what am I saying? Why is Scott Russell doing so well on Dunlop wets? Any
Jamie Whittam is flying around here. Jamie Whittam, he is in 6th place.
Thanks, Keith.
There he goes. Whittam goes underneath number 42. That's Chris Walker, and out he goes. So Walker goes back. He's on the grass, dear me, James. Well, that's not done his cause a lot of good, that's for certain.
That's for sure. That was a hairy moment. You don't want to be on the wet paint round here. Was he lucky to stay on that, Keith?
Well, we'll take another look at it now then. Chris Walker's on 42.
Number 12 is Jamie Whittam coming down the Hawthorns into the braking point. You can see the bow wave on the front of those bikes. And over goes Whittam. Walker nicely and neatly heads to the right. Well, as far as motocross is concerned, you wouldn't choose much between those two. Look, Michael Rudder pulling away from Fogarty. Fogarty clearing off from Scott Russell. Corrected time we wait to see as they come to the line this time round. Rudder is by far and away the fastest man. And believe it or not, not much slower in the wet than he is in the dry. 1 minute 39.7 is his time. 1 minute 26 is a quick time around here usually. Fogarty has a 7-second lead, 7.5-second lead now over Scott Russell in second place. Hodgson in third place, Kaczynski in fourth.
Yeah, and John Kaczynski not doing the walking on water trick we were expecting, because as soon as it rained, I could see British fans' faces drop, thinking, well, Kaczynski in the wet has been awesome and precise. And it's great as we look at the order overall. Fogarty, Russell, Hodgson make the rostrum party at the moment. Kaczynski well back in fourth, Simon Crafar fifth, his teammate sixth, Jim Whittam in seventh and having an interesting time. Aaron Slight in eighth, and look at Mike Rutter. Keith, has he got time to get amongst the big boys? I think he has.
Yeah, because it's about whether Aaron Slight is on the pace, and he's not at the moment. If I look at Slight's times, he's doing 1 minute 40. He's a second a lap slower than Michael Rutter.
So it's entirely possible that Michael Rutter could get in amongst the works boys and get into the top 10. But what is looking good at the moment for Brit fans? Oh, Carl, don't do that.
Sideways on. That's just a nice little drift on wet tyres, that is. No problems at all. Well, of course, if you've just joined us and you're switching on for something else, you've got World Superbikes, and aren't you lucky, because it has been a dramatic day today. Race 1 was stopped because of a big crash. When it restarted, Carl Fogarty jumped off, and that was it as far as he was concerned. Neil Mackenzie was riding brilliantly, and race 2, that's been stopped because of the rain. Then we've had to re-practice. It's been a nightmare day, Jules.
I mean, the schedulers the world over are cutting their wrists at the moment. Well, we're bringing you live Superbike racing with Aaron Slight, having a moment you don't like having at Clearways there. Well, I wouldn't.
That was actually John Kaczynski, I'm afraid, Julian. Remember when you slapped my wrist earlier on in the week for saying that?
In front of Aaron Slight, just to wind you up as well.
Absolutely. You're the one that got it wrong first today.
Sorry, Aaron.
Michael Rudder goes through, followed by Fogarty, followed by John Kaczynski. Kaczynski is now in second place overall on the corrected time. He's 8 seconds behind Fogarty, but Kaczynski is grabbing 20 points for that second place from Fogarty with 25. Bearing in mind, Fogarty didn't score in the first one. There's Rutter's fastest lap.
That's awesome. I hope our amiable Minister for Sport, Tony Banks, who we heard from earlier, saying he wouldn't be watching Carl because he'd be at Wembley with Chelsea. Well, Minister, I hope you got home in time to see this, because we enjoyed talking to you at the Sports Cafe last week.
I was there to hear it. Combined times then. Here it is. Carl Fogarty leads by 8.089 seconds from Kaczynski. Russell is back in third, a short distance behind Kaczynski. Then it's Hodgson a little further back in fourth. Yanagawa in fifth, and Crafar, well, bad luck, Andy Kershaw in sixth. As sideways again goes Fogarty. Well, he's certainly not laying off the power, is he, Carl Fogarty?
I think Simon Crafar's problem, well, he told me yesterday that he said his Dunlop wets just were not up to the job. And if it did rain, then he didn't expect anything.
Foggy wobbling away. There it is. Sideways on, getting on the power into the bottom of Dingledell. Carl Fogarty leads this race by over 8 seconds from John Kaczynski now in second place. It's a disaster as far as Carl Fogarty's race is concerned. Michael Rudder, the leader on the road, goes through. He is having an absolute field day out there. Fogarty goes through in second place. Here is Kaczynski, closing on Fogarty on the road by the look of it. But he has got to pass Fogarty by a long way. Fogarty has an 8-second lead on aggregate over this man, John Kaczynski, on bike number 3, who is in second place and not very far behind Carl Fogarty on the road in this restart.
Well, in the first dry half of this race, Keith, Carl had an advantage of 5.34 seconds over John Kaczynski, and I do feel that is what's going to count here. But John Kaczynski, the precision man that he is going to score probably 20 points, keep his World Championship lead, and will go to the next round in Austria with again a 4-point gap, just as we came in here.
Well, there you go, but in his favour.
In John's favour rather than Carl's. Very good points.
Well, I hate to pick you up. It's been a long day, I know, Julian, and we've got water in the works here in the commentary box. It's all flooded out here. But we're not as wet as these men. Carl Fogarty, the eyes have it, I think we can say. Oh, and again, Carl. Same place. Down Dingledell. Foggy is sideways on. It's unbelievable. John Kaczynski. Kaczynski looks to me like He wants to move up on on Carl Fogarty. We'll take another look at it now. Sideways, that's even bigger than the last one that he did.
I know it's not that big a moment, but it sure as heck scares me. It really does.
Well, that was getting to be a bigger moment, actually.
Yeah,
the first one was just a drift. That one was a bit out of line.
Well, as a road bike rider, you know, when my tyres get out of line, I get paralysed with fright, basically. When I see it on a racetrack, I just I stand back in awe.
Kaczynski is absolutely flying. Kaczynski has eased it down to 7.1 seconds now. And if he carries on at that pace, he could catch and pass Fogarty in the actual race stage.
Indeed.
We have 8 laps left to go, and I think Kaczynski is closing it down by a second a lap.
Oh dear me, and Kaczynski looking smooth, unhurried and panicked. He's got the fastest lap now, very low 1:38, so he's going faster than Mike Rudder. Why did it take him so long, I asked myself? Do I need Keith Code for that?
I think Keith Code said it perfectly when he was in here with you. A lot of local knowledge, and of course Michael Rudder up to speed very, very quickly with the surface here. John Kaczynski's had 15 minutes in the wet to get used to the Brands Hatch, a new Brands Hatch, bearing in mind. Here he goes. Whoa, that was very neat. He moved over onto the real dirty part of the track where it looked like the water was laying a lot more. And Carl Fogarty under attack from Kaczynski. 7.1 seconds was the lead that Fogarty had on Kaczynski on aggregate time. That's taking the 2 parts of this race together. So, what will be the lead when we get to the line next time? Over Dingledell.
And we should point out that Neil Hodgson is still on for a rostrum. Neil Hodgson still in 3rd place overall. Just, and I mean just, by just over a second from Scott Russell. Akira Yanagawa up to 5th overall.
Oh, that was scary because, oh dear me, John Kaczynski really did hit a big damp patch coming into clearways there, and the bike looked like the front was going to fold up under braking, and that has put Kaczynski right off. And it's put me right off too.
Kaczynski still gained the best part of a second.
He did. He gained a second again on Fogarty, but Fogarty's away from him again. Let's take another look at, watch that. There he goes. That front wheel was locked up. That was incredible stuff there. John Kaczynski then, that was the save of this year so far. It might not look a much, but I tell you, when that front wheel is locked, normally you're on the deck. That had shades of Fogarty 93. He lost in exactly that place, in exactly that way a few years ago. So Fogarty, I reckon that has done it for him. He now has that, well, that second a lap he had been losing to Kaczynski, and Kaczynski had enough laps left to do this job.
But he still did lose a second last time round, despite that moment from Kaczynski.
Good point.
So I think we're in bigger trouble than we think we are.
We'll have to wait and see. There we go then. Fogarty 6.036 seconds in front of John Kaczynski. Hodgson, well, he seems to have sorted 3rd out for himself now. Yanagawa's a couple of seconds behind him. Russell is further back. Slight, though, is coming into the equation in 6th place. Crayfar down to 7th. Rutter up to 8th with Whittam behind him. And Rudder is still flying. Walker in 10th. Hale in 11th. And Bontempi coming onto the leaderboard in 12th.
Yanagawa is the man who has made progress from 8th in the first leg up to 4th in the wet. Well, Japanese riders, they get some wet weather there, Keith. They can ride in the wet. And Akira on Dunlops has gone past Scott Russell.
It was wet all the way through Suzuka.
Yes, he had some practice.
Oh, there is Bontempi. Bontempi has outbraked himself and disappeared up the slip road, but he's back on track. Well, this has been an extremely dramatic day. When we came on air, the fight was between Kaczynski and Fogarty for the World Championship. Here we are at the end of an action-packed day. Controversy, crashes, race stops, race starts, and now the wet weather. And at the end of the day, it is still between Carl Fogarty and John Kaczynski.
And last time, Keith, the gap only came down by less than 1/10 of a second. Kaczynski hardly gained, so he must have lost some momentum from that heart-stopping moment coming into clearways. As we have a look at the, well, walk on water, Michael Rutter, nearly 5 seconds in front of Foggy on the road.
Yeah, still bunging in 38s. 1 minute 38 then coming from Michael Rudder on the last lap. He's superb. Here's Witter. Witter, what am I talking about? Side by side. Fogarty and Kaczynski. Kaczynski then got good drive. This is great racing considering through goes Kaczynski. Kaczynski goes in front of Carl Fogarty on the road, and he has 6 seconds to make up.
No, he doesn't.
In 5 laps.
He went wide, Carl came back. Dear me, we're not used to that in the wet.
Well,
John Kaczynski being re-overtaken.
If Carl can hold John Kaczynski back long enough, then there won't be enough laps left for him to be able to do it. Fogarty wants to win this race. He wants it overall. He has a 6-second lead over John Kaczynski. Let's take another look at this. Through came Kaczynski. out of the slipstream. We know the Honda's fast, but Fogarty lined himself up coming out of Hawthorn as Kaczynski ran wide. Here it comes, and under him goes Carl Fogarty. Superb.
Doesn't look at him either, not a glance. Wonderful stuff, and this is just what Carl needs.
Oh, dear me, Carl Fogarty, Speedway style, sideways on, 5 laps left to go.
And Keith, the gap only came down by 2/10. And you heard the crowd reaction there as Carl came across. Kaczynski, this is exactly what Carl wanted. He's holding him up, he's stopping John getting past, he's re-overtaking. The guy cannot get, if Kaczynski got clear, Keith, I think he would clear off and maybe win it. But Carl is battling brilliantly here.
Of course, it's all about aggregate times, and that's what Julian means by Kaczynski getting past. He's got to be 5.5 seconds in front of Fogarty. And he's not going to do that, I'm sure of it. Fogarty, Kaczynski, Hodgson. Hodgson has that safe third-ish safe now. Yes. Yanagawa, Rutter, and Russell. Rutter up to 5th.
Brilliant.
Superb. He's got in front of Scott Russell. Here we go. Kaczynski's through. Kaczynski leads. That back marker, I'm sure, caused a problem there. Fogarty now got to chase Kaczynski. He's got to stay within, what was the difference after the first pass? 5.3.
5.43 seconds. Now we're talking about these numbers.
Look at this. Round the outside. Round the outside. I ask you, that was incredible. John Kaczynski, absolutely majestic in the wet. Through he went round the outside. Well, that's a bit of a riding lesson there for Carl.
That was astonishing. Look at Foggy, but Foggy's got to do this. Keep him in sight. He doesn't have to repass him. I remind you, we're watching a 2-part race. It's being timed on aggregate. Aggregate times from both halves of this race. So Carl does not have to overtake John Kaczynski, but he must be less than 5.4 seconds behind him when the checkered flag goes out.
There's the aggregate times. It's very, very simple. Carl Fogarty will win this race and get 25 points. John Kaczynski will finish second if they are this close together by the end of it. Rutter is in 5th place. He's the man that's jumping up. Well, the last time we saw that, Rutter was moving up. We're looking to see if he moves up to 4th. Rutter's up to 4th. Rutter is up to 4th place now, I can tell you.
And look at the gap to Hodgson, Keith, less than a second. Yanagawa is going with him as well. Yanagawa and Rutter making astounding progress through the field.
Here he is. Superb ride in the wet. He leads this race. He is out in front by a long, long way. But the most incredible thing about it is he's come from, what, 18th place?
And 18 seconds down.
Up to 4th place, and only a second down on grabbing 3rd place from Neil Hodgson. He could end up putting the V&M Honda on the podium for Jack Valentine and Steve Mellors after a really difficult year of British Championship racing, just because of the wet. What about that?
Well, the question is, Carl Fogarty, what do you do? Do you sit behind John Kaczynski and say, right, that'll give me the aggregate? It's not in the guy's nature. Will he fight back, Keith? Will he try and get past it?
Well, that's answered it for me. He looks out, he looks aggressive. He wants to beat John Kaczynski up, doesn't he, look? This is not what you should be doing.
No.
He doesn't have to do it. And if he falls down, he's going to feel extremely silly.
And I'm getting very, very nervous. I really am. It's great to watch. It's wonderful bike racing.
Oh, look at this. Oh, dearie me.
The red mist down, isn't it? The
Carl
red mist
Fogarty
is down.
is absolutely on a mission. He just doesn't like John Kaczynski, does he?
Well, I think we saw in the first race before he fell off, he saw Kaczynski in front, they were going to break away, and his riding style got really agitated. I think Carl, you know, he really did get
Look
wound
at
up.
this, sideways.
Carl, he doesn't have to do this. He really doesn't.
Getting the drive out of clearways. The Honda didn't put the drive down as well as they would like it to, that's for certain. Well, 80,000 people came here to see Carl. I don't care what anybody says, they're waving the Union Jack for Carl Fogarty. They came here to see great racing, but first and foremost, they came here to see Carl Fogarty beat everyone else.
You're absolutely right, and I think there's so many people stayed here, and let's not forget that Carl Fogarty feels the weight of his fans' expectations on his shoulders. He takes it extremely seriously. He will not cruise for anybody, let alone himself.
Here it is, Fogarty, 5.1 seconds in front of Kaczynski. Hodgson in 3rd, Rutter up to 4th, and look at that. He's a 1/10 of a second off of pinching Hodgson's 3rd place and the podium. Rutter is going to be on the podium.
Keith.
It's been a brilliant ride. He deserves it.
Look at Yanagawa's time. Yanagawa is coming through as well. Rutter and Yanagawa are going to be in contention for the 3rd place on the rostrum. But I think Akira is going nearly as quickly.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not being done on the road. That's the thing. It's like an Isle of Man TT race, and there's no one more experienced at that than Michael Rudder, of course.
And the whole family.
And the whole family of Rutters, absolutely. So, Michael Rudder doing it against the clock. Cole Fogarty doing it against John Kaczynski. He has the fastest lap. 1 minute 37.9 in these conditions around this track. It's absolutely outstanding. Well, I just hope it doesn't end in tears. We don't want any more water.
Keith, my blood pressure will need medical attention shortly after this race. It really will. 5.1 seconds. The gap has stayed static overall. On board with Jim.
Whittam,
What's he doing?
It's scary. James Whittam down towards Clearways, under the bridge now to start another lap.
Yanagawa's third. Yanagawa has gone third. Keith, Yanagawa is flying. He's gone ahead of Rutter and ahead of Hodgson. He's up to third, the Japanese rider.
Fogarty looking at the inside of Kaczynski. Oh, dear me. Everyone sit up. That almost was the Keeley-Fogarty accident earlier. So Fogarty has a 5-second lead over John Kaczynski, and he's still doing things like that. Yeah. Well, you've got to take your hat off to him.
It's wonderful.
A huge crowd here, bedraggled by the end of the day, but really he is treating them to a superb race, and he really doesn't have to.
I know, and I cannot exaggerate the skill level needed to hold one of these bikes on a racing line in this weather. It is astounding.
Hodgson has slipped to 5th, all in one lap. Rutter and Yanagawa are through. Yanagawa is the man that charges. There's only, what, 1.5 laps left to go now. Well, it's clear that Foggy's not happy with 5 seconds of a lead. He wants to pass John Kaczynski in the wet at Brands Hatch on the track and rub his nose in it.
Yeah, he wants to lay the ghost of Kaczynski, the Rainmaster, doesn't he? He wants to prove that John Kaczynski is not invincible in the wet. Keith, I've no idea where he's going to do it. I really think he shouldn't do it, but I think he's going to have a go.
Paddock coming up, next corner, right-hander, then he'll get the drive out of Clearways if he's close enough. He's not really close enough from my view here. He's got to get the power on all the way through here. No, he's not close enough, so he needed to be closer than that. He's about to start his last lap, though. This will be where he does it, I think, on the last lap. He'll come alongside Kaczynski up into this corner that we're at now, Paddock Hill Bend. The only other place is maybe he'll do it here even. He will wait until he's through this corner, down in the dip, and then up into Druids. Wait until we see whether he goes for it up into Druids. And they are on their last lap. There's not 2 laps. This is the last lap.
And the gap, 5.2 seconds overall. Carl, just stay there. And Scott Russell is up to 4th. Scott Russell making a late charge up to 4th. He's got in front of Rutter. Yanagawa is 3rd. Well, is he going to drag race him out of Clearways?
Won't be enough time by then. He will have to pass him before we get to Clearways. Maybe Carl has made the point that he wants to make. He's harried Kaczynski all the way round. Yep, he's let Kaczynski go. Carl Fogarty is going for the points. He had a 5.2 second lead over Kaczynski when we started this last lap. If he's not careful,
yes,
because there's a couple of seconds in it now.
All over again.
There's a couple of seconds in it now. He's not going to back off too much. Carl Fogarty leads this race. There is Kaczynski. He is the leader on the road. Well, he's not actually. Michael Rudder's the leader on the road. Kaczynski, though, is in front of Fogarty as far as the road is concerned, but not on aggregate time. Through Dingle Dell. Here they come. 5.2 seconds was the lead. There's Michael Rudder. He's the fastest man round here. He's going to win the road race, but not the aggregate time race. That is going to be down to this man, Carl Fogarty, going through. They're coming to the checkered flag now. It's going to be Michael Rudder who takes the checkered flag first. Then it'll be John Kaczynski. And then on aggregate time, the winner of race 2 here at Brands Hatch, Carl Fogarty. 25 points are his. And Kaczynski is in 2nd place. And Fogarty wins, Kaczynski 2nd.
And Russell up to 3rd. Russell up to 3rd on the line. That's what I was getting excited about there. Oh, wonderful stuff.
Well, Carl Fogarty had to give them a win. He crashed out in race 1. He was bitterly disappointed with his performance in race 1. And then comes back in the worst and most appalling conditions to take 25 points. Julian, I can't wait to see how the championship looks after today.
Oh,
well,
it's going to be tight, isn't it, Keith?
They expected 80,000 people through the gate. Confirmed earlier today, before they'd stopped coming in, was 75,000 people coming through the gate. And they've not been disappointed at the end of the day. It was worth the wait for us on Sky Sports and for them here at Brands Hatch. It has been a great day, controversial, drama-packed, but very, very exciting.
And my unofficial mathematics has John Kaczynski leading the championship with 246 points, Carl Fogarty 2nd on 242 points.
So you were right last time round. Carl Fogarty entered Brands Hatch with a 4-point lead. we leave Brands Hatch with John Kaczynski on a 4-point lead in the World Superbike Championship. It could have been much, much worse. Fogarty the winner then, confirmed. John Kaczynski, 5.1 seconds behind at the flag. Scott Russell in 3rd place. He makes the podium. That's to go with his 2nd place in the first race. So that is a great pair of rides from Scott Russell in terrible conditions. And considering he qualified in 11th place, which was quite short of stunning, really.
Yeah, and he was looking desperately hammer-happy this morning after warm-up as well. That's what I was getting excited about after our winner had gone across the flag.
Now then, we have got a new confirmation. Michael Rutter has gone up into 3rd place. We have a new confirmation of the race result. Fogarty wins, Kaczynski 2nd, Rutter 3rd. So Rutter gets 3rd place. Superb.
Well, what more drama? Is there any more drama we can have today?
Well,
flabbergasted.
Our computer had water in the works, but it's sorted out now. Michaela Fogarty then stands there in the Union Jack, and very fetching indeed that is. Carl comes in behind Michael Rutter there, getting the applause. Jack Valentine runs after him. Steve Mellors is next up, but Carl Fogarty
wants a flag, I think.
Yeah, he needs a flag, but there are none.
There's Slick.
Anthony Bass. He's almost as famous as Carl. Fogarty rolls down pit lane. Here he is. Carl Fogarty and Michaela, and the look of relief on his face says it all. That is relief, that's not